Woodward Sports app and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
Welcome, everybody, to Big D Energy here on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Jeff Iafrate, filling in for the real deal, Neil Rule, this week, and making his first appearance this week, my good friend, my mentor, Sam Stick Day. How you feeling today?
Zero-time Stanley Cup champion Sam Stick Day. 0 times.
Had to add that in.
Always have to add that
well. And along with us, we have in the booth, Sam Flannel. How you doing today, Sam?
Oh, it is a beautiful day. It's Friday. It's been a fantastic week, and we got Stick with us today, so I think this is going to be a great show, me personally.
Oh, no doubt about it. And last but not least, 50% of the Woodward heavyweights spend more racks. Spencer Raxter. How you doing, Spence? Coming off that Malik Willis performance.
We're fully engorged. Malik scored a touchdown last night. Dude looked great. You know, we're having a good day so far.
Look at that smile on Spencer's face.
No, he is electric. And this has been a debate. Adam already kind of addressed it on the morning show, but we will get into it. We got a lot to talk about today. It is the first game for the Detroit Lions in the preseason, facing the Atlanta Falcons tonight at 6 o'clock. But before that, I did want to kind of get into it a little bit about the Malik Willis. We got to see some football last night. Thank God. No matter if it was the Giants, it was the Tennessee Titans, it did not matter. But Spence, I want to go to you first, man. I want to let you have your moment. You're watching Malik Willis last night. What'd you think of him?
Yeah, you know, he looked great. He made some great throws. Obviously, he had that scrambling touchdown where he took Kyle Hamilton out of his shorts and then scrambled to the end zone for a touchdown. That looked really good. He had a really nice deep ball, about 40 yards in the air. Very good completion. He had this sidearm rocket where he threw it between a couple defenders and completed the pass. He finished with like 168 yards, something like that, on, I think, 16 attempts, all-purpose yards. So, you know, he looked great.
Yeah, 7.5 yards a carry. Listen, I'm kind of in the middle of all of this. I was a Malik Willis fan going into the draft. I thought the Lions probably should have pursued him to be our backup quarterback. And he's a project. We all know that. He dropped to the 3rd round. I think everybody around here, a lot of people getting clowned for that because they wanted him at number 2, but he drops to the 3rd round.
Right.
But let's, you know, there's a saying from Reservoir Dogs, or no, I believe it's Pulp Fiction. And Sam, you're probably going to have to beat this. It's let's not start sucking each other just yet. And that's exactly how I wanted to handle Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Was it a good showing? Yes. Do you need to build upon that? Yes, because let's be honest, it's preseason. It was only 16 throws. He did have a nice run. He does have the tools, but can he put it together? Because there's a lot of guys with those physical tools. And so, am I excited about Malik Willis? Will I follow him? Yes, because I wanted him here in Detroit.
Right.
But at this point, I'm not going to call it either way. You can't. It's preseason.
No.
He was playing against scrubs.
Yeah, you can't. And I think as a character, I root for Malik Willis. I love him. But from a football perspective, I didn't want him at number 2, but I got to admit, he played solid in his first preseason, but so did Anthony Brown on the opposing team for the Ravens, undrafted quarterback from this year's NFL draft out of Oregon, 10 for 15 for 117 yards. Malik was 6 for 11 for 107 in a rushing touchdown. So just to put it in perspective, Anthony Brown, undrafted quarterback, he showed out as well. Not saying he will be better than Malik Willis, but that's kind of the point I'm making. You don't take too much from preseason. And he still is a project. You kind of hit it on it. For the Titans, they can afford to take that risk. We're not drafting him number 2 overall. And Sam, I wasn't on Big D at the time of the draft, but what'd you take away from Malik Willis last night?
I mean, isn't this kind of what the preseason is all about? He's a guy, obviously, that has immense physical tools, and he can run, which is amazing. And he showed a lot of that last night with that big scramble. That was phenomenal. Where he shake Kyle Hamilton out of his shorts, as Spencer said. He pushed the ball down the field. He made some incredible throws. But it is preseason. Let's see if he can put it together and show some consistency, because he's not even going to start this year. So there's not a ton we can take, but with those kind of high flash, like high ceiling, high bust factor guys, it's nice to see that they at least show their physical tools in a preseason game.
And I see the comments coming in already. We got that guy 62 says, man, he was mid. People just went crazy because he had a nice Vince Young type run in the end zone. And listen, for me, I'm not going to say he was mid. I just don't have a reaction because simply it was preseason. But my point is, for the Titans, that's a team who can afford to take Malik Willis in the 3rd round. The Lions need a depth. The Titans can take a project like Malik Willis because, like we were talking about before the show, if he doesn't work out, you're fine.
You got Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah,
right.
You're still a good team.
Well, and I think the thing you got to The question right now is, would you rather have Josh Paschal or Malik Willis? And that seems to be the question, because we haven't seen what Josh can do on the field, right? We drafted him when he was injured, and that's the bottom line. That's their biggest bitch. Why are we drafting injured players in the second round when you could have gone and taken a project piece? It's a flip of the coin either way, right? So why don't you go get that quarterback? And I understand that argument, but then I also look at Josh Paschal's film, and I'm like, oh, man, him and Aiden, they could do some damage. And if we're building the big uglies up front, that's probably a move we have to make. So that's really the question you want to ask yourself. Would you rather have Josh Paschal right now or Malik Willis? If you want to throw that in the chat, throw it up on YouTube, we can ask that question. And right now, Malik Willis is the... Offensive players are fun toys, right? You see more out. You see the passing. You see the running. You get to see all those skills. Linemen aren't glamorous. They're not sexy, right? We're lucky to have the guys that we do leading the way up front right now, but the linemen aren't the guys that are going to sell tickets necessarily. Malik Willis will sell some tickets. I mean, he got us around here excited. I just don't think... It's too early in the game. I mean, it's one preseason game. The dude's not even going to start for his own damn team. And to already say Josh Paschal's not good, I can't do that either because I haven't seen him on an NFL field.
No, that's very fair of you. And I share the same thoughts. And this is why we're going to put the poll up right now. For me, Josh Paschal, I don't have an opinion on him because I haven't seen him play. I'm excited to see him play. And I think ultimately, long-term, Paschal will just be a better decision instead of Malik Willis. But we don't know. Right now, the votes coming in, we have 33 votes right now. 83% choose Josh Paschal, 17% Malik Willis. And that tells me right there that people are just, hey, Brad Holmes, do your thing. I trust you. Because before the draft, a lot of Malik Willis talk.
Well, you sell the sizzle, right? Yep. And that's it. And like I said, I was a Malik Willis guy. I wanted him here in Detroit. But once again, I trust Brad Holmes. If this was an Alec Vila situation, I'd be like, oh my God,
just take the best toy.
Like, we messed up. But it's Brad Holmes, guys. He knows what the hell he's doing. And if you think you're smarter than Brad Holmes and you think you know more football than Brad Holmes, you're wrong. He made the right choice. Until he's proven to me that he can't make those decisions, I'm giving him full autonomy to make all those decisions, and I'm going to trust every single one of them because he's the guy that's pulling out Amon-Ra St. Brown from the 4th round. Mm-hmm. He's the guy that's trading up to go get Jamison Williams. He's the guy that got Malcolm Rodriguez, late, who looks like he could be a stud too, So I trust Brad Holmes, and whenever I have a question of whether this was right or wrong, it's like, well, Brad Holmes thought it was right. It's right.
And that's the right way to approach it. Another person I did want to bring up, this is just kind of revisiting the NFL draft, is Kayvon Thibodeau, who played last night for the New York Giants. Didn't play a lot, but ended the game with 1 tackle. And that's another decision that, like you said, Stick, you have to trust Brad Holmes. He chose Aiden over Kayvon Thibodeau. Personally, I was a Kayvon guy, but after seeing it, and I was okay with either one, but post-draft, I'm like, all right, Brad made the decision. I'm not going to question it. And last night, some Giants fans weren't so happy with what they saw out of Thibodeau. But I will say it makes me even more excited to see Aiden tonight.
Yeah. Listen, seasons aren't won or lost in a preseason game.
Right.
I mean, we saw this with the Lions when they went 4-0 in the preseason. Everybody looked great, and then what do we do? 0-16 on the season. So you can't get too hyped for preseason games. But I'm not gonna throw Thibodeau out, just like I'm not gonna crown Malik Willis.
Right, and that's the right way to approach it.
And tonight with Aiden Hutchinson playing, I'm just looking to see his motor, to see if he can get some push off the ball and stuff like that. And I heard some very interesting information. Actually, Easy from the Heavyweights told me Aiden may be moving inside a little bit, too. Mm-hmm. In practice, they've been moving him inside, not just an edge rusher anymore. And Easy said once they moved him inside during that practice, he got 2 sacks in a row. So we may be seeing him moved inside, moved outside. I could see him standing up at some points, too. Just watching the flexibility and how they utilize him tonight is what I'm looking forward to.
I mean, yeah, he's a massive human being. Like, Aiden Hutchinson's 6'7", 260 pounds, and he's very versatile. You can move him all over your defensive line. And that's one thing he was praised about coming out of Michigan is they moved him everywhere. He's good at stopping the run. Yep. He can get to the passer. So that's the benefit of having a guy like Aiden Hutchinson. I do see some comments coming in. Someone mentioned, which I thought was funny, how Boyle plays really well in the preseason every single year, used to for the Green Bay, and now you see him in game. A little questionable. That's one thing I will be looking for, too, is that backup quarterback spot, because, listen, that was the reason people were clamoring over Malik Willis. It was more so, and I know Spence, it was Jared Goff and partially you as well. It's like, what's behind Jared? We got nothing.
Yeah, and push Jared, right? Like
push him,
a quarterback competition. You knew Malik wasn't going to come in and start day one, but you could also have him in practice and pushing Jared Goff and understanding, hey, man, I got somebody that's hot on my heels, a rising prospect. With the guys that we have, we know what they are. We know what they do. We've seen it. They don't do anything when they get on the field. Like, think about last year, right? At the beginning of the season, everyone was, we got to move on from Goff. We got to move on from Goff. This is awful. And then Blau and Boyle get in, and it's like, my God, we got to bring back Goff. What has happened to this team? Like, literally, the absence of Jared Goff last year made people understand that he's not that bad of a quarterback, right? Like, we need Jared Goff.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. You learn to appreciate things when they're gone, especially like Jared last year. I do remember that conversation. Him coming back the end of the year too, the stretch he had, he definitely improved. And I do want to go to the YouTube chat thread right now. People talking about Bailey Zapp, another guy last night who in the preseason. Listen, these guys are out there just slinging it. You're trying to see. This is how teams measure what they have, figure out what they have at the quarterback at whatever position they're evaluating. But yeah, last night I didn't take much from Malik Willis. I'm excited to see him and how his career plays out. But looking back, guys, I don't think there's anybody, and please comment if you are, I'm good with the decision that was made. And I think you are as well. Yeah. I'm not sitting here saying, you know what, wish you still would have taken Malik Willis, because I think the players that we took ultimately instead of Malik will just long-term benefit the Lions. We need depth very, very bad. And I do see a comment right here from Steve saying he will set the edge on early downs and match up on pass downs. See, that's what you get with Aiden. He can play every down. Yeah. That's the versatility he brings.
I mean, if you're the number 2 overall pick, you better be able to play every damn down. I got to be honest with you. You got to live up to that hype. Yeah. But the fact that he fell to us, too, is still astounding to me. Like, you know, I love Brad Holmes. I think I made that clear already in this segment. But you give a guy like Brad Holmes free shots. It's almost impossible. Right. It's like giving free outs in softball. Like we got our ass kicked last night with the Space Dogs. We were giving away too many free outs. You give a good guy like Brad Holmes an extra opportunity, he's going to cash in. And you saw it during Hard Knocks. Coaches sitting around like, I think we got a real one here.
Yeah.
And they were saying it like nonchalantly, but they were saying it confidently. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they were able to include that clip in Hard Knocks last week is pretty phenomenal. But the fact that the coaches are sitting around talking that way about the number 2 overall player and not like, oh, we're questioning his work ethic. Oh, you know, this guy hasn't shown up yet. No, they got one. And we get to see it live on display tonight.
Cannot wait. And to go back to Brad Holmes, too, him being in a situation where you have to choose the best player available, it's unbelievable how confident I am. It's similar like Troy Weaver. You let a player fall to him, good luck, because he's going to identify talent, no doubt about it. But next segment, we're going to go into it, our expectations. What can we take away from the game tonight against the Falcons? But before we do that, I got to hear about our friends from Lady Jane's.
Ooh, Lady Jane's? Wicked awesome. You're talking about haircuts, you're talking about looking smooth, you're talking about Cake Cam that's behind us at all times. Lady Jane's, there's locations all over Metro Detroit. And right now, you can come in and get your shot at your dream car, too. So that's from Les Stanford. So make sure you find Lady Jane's. It's the weekend. Get your hair done. Look good. Feel good. Go out and have some fun. It's Lady Jane's. Precision haircuts. Wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Let me tell you about our friends from Odds Trader.
OddsTrader.
OddsTrader.com is the #1 site for all your game day bets, play-by-play updates, live scores, and the best price on every game from multiple sports books. Go to OddsTrader.com right now for your best bet. Welcome back to Big D Energy here on a Friday, almost afternoon. I am Jeff Iafrate, filling in for Neil Rule. Alongside me, my guy, Sam Stick Day. And we do got to dive into it. Tonight, the Lions face the Falcons in their first preseason game.
It's Lions game day!
And we are beyond excited. We're thirsty. We're thirsty for football.
And you know what I'm thirsty for? Starters are supposed to play the entire first quarter.
Oh, my gosh.
That's what I love. Because, like, preseason football is nice, but, you know, you don't get, like, the starters. You don't get the cream of the crop, and it's nice to see what the other guys can do. But the fact that we know our starters are going to play the entire first quarter, it's got me excited over here.
Yeah, me too. I think with the Lions, too, they have a lot of players that have a lot to prove. So we're in a position where starters can play. It's not like other teams where you're like, all right, I know what I'm getting out of this guy. You don't have to play. Lions got a lot of guys that need to show out. So it's very exciting as a Lions fan, but one guy I am very excited to see is Dan Campbell.
Ooh.
Specifically, because he talks about it in training camp. He wants to put his players in the best position to win. That's what he's been preaching at training camp. You heard it on Hard Knocks. And last year, our guy Sam Flannels went through it this week. He's made a lot of decisions where we questioned his ability to make in-game decisions. And he had plenty of moments where, you know, he kind of had those moments, but towards the end of the season, he cleaned up a lot. So now a year under his belt, I'm eager to see his development. I'm eager to see what he takes away from last year, how he's improved, because it really last year was his first year as a head coach. He was an interim head coach, but now it's like, listen, this is my team.
Right.
I'm working alongside Brad Holmes, and I'm in it for the long run. So that's one person I'm excited to see tonight. But what are some expectations for the game, Stick? What are you looking for?
Like I said, a good first quarter, right? You want to start this season out on the right foot. You want to continue with the momentum that they had at the end of last season. You want to see the cohesiveness coming together, and especially on the offensive side of the ball. That's really what I'm looking forward to, the timing of it in the first quarter. And I'm going to reference Hard Knocks a lot because I think it's given us a nice look behind the curtain. But it seemed like when they were showing that the offense was beating up on our defense pretty good, right? So I'm looking forward to they're number 2 offense in the league paid now because of the Kyler Murray contract put Arizona above us. But we were number 1. We were spending the most on our offense, $50 million on the offensive line. I'm looking to see these guys click. I'm looking to see the timing. And really, once I break that down even further, I'm not really looking at the flash pieces. I want to see how this offensive line moves the line of scrimmage. Are we blasting people 3 yards off the ball? Are we pushing them back? Are we manhandling their defensive edge rushes? Are we being able to pick up the blitz? And, you know, they're going to be vanilla blitz packages and stuff that they're doing in preseason. But you got to be able to handle the baby stuff before you get to the big stuff. And that's what I'm looking forward to tonight. Can the offense click in this first quarter?
Yeah, I think specifically about the offensive line as well. Like, are they as good as advertised? That's what I'm looking forward to see. Sam Flannel, I'll go to you. What are some expectations for tonight against the Falcons?
So this is a strange one for me because on one hand, I want to see good, clean football, especially from the starters. Just like make sure everyone knows their assignments, you know, the offensive line, guys like Aiden Hutchinson. I want to see, you know, what they've been practicing. Just play clean. Don't make too many mistakes. But at the same time, I'm not going to be that mad if it looks a little bit sloppy because it is the first preseason game, and that would create opportunities for learning and growth. And I'm also looking for guys who are maybe on the fringe of the roster, guys who maybe flash off the screen, guys who are kind of fighting for their football lives. See if some guy like really stands out, or even a guy like Malcolm Rodriguez, for example, a 6th-round pick. And as much as we love him, 6th-round picks don't always make the team. So a guy like him, I expect to see very, very motivated. And I want to see what this guy's got.
No, that's a great point to bring up too. Like pre-snap and post-snap penalties. Like, and I get it's preseason, but that was a problem with the Lions last year. And to your point earlier, Stick, it's like when the Lions, they played really well in the preseason. They didn't win a single game in the regular season. So it's not necessarily about winning or losing. It's really the intricacies of the game itself. And for me, I'm watching that linebacker core. You hit on it kind of already. Offensively, I kind of know what we're getting. But defensively, speaking of Hard Knocks, something they brought up is their inability to tackle. That was what Aaron Glenn was preaching on Hard Knocks as well, Dan Campbell. So for me, I'm looking at the defense. I'm looking at guys. We're going to go into it next segment about who we'll be watching the most. But before that, and I'm kind of teasing it already, but it's the linebackers. Like, that is kind of the weakest part of this team, that or the secondary. And I do want to see this. For me, preseason is for me to evaluate who are some guys that stand out? Or who are some guys from last year who got better? And Malcolm Rodriguez is a great start. Speaking of Malcolm Rodriguez, Spenny, that's your guy.
That is my guy. Yeah, I'm excited to watch. I want to see who starts in that linebacking core. Like right now it's listed as Anzalone and Board as our starters. So I'd like to see who gets mixed in there. Yeah.
That's just not that I don't like those guys, and sorry to interrupt you, but when you say that, it's like,
yeah, no, Anzalone's not your linebacker one. Hey.
I feel like Conor McGregor. Who the is this guy? That's what I feel like when we list our linebackers off. And Anzalone, he could improve from last year to this year. But Spence, go ahead, man. Sorry, but when you said those names at linebackers, I was just like, ugh.
No, you're good. Yeah, it definitely. It takes you back when you hear names like that, because those are guys that probably aren't starting on a lot of teams in the NFL. But yeah, that's a big thing. I want to see that takeaway. I want to see. This new defense, this attack defense, this violent defense that Aaron Glenn has been preaching, I want to see that come to fruition and see these guys going out there and making plays, hopefully, getting in the backfield more often than we saw last year and causing some havoc for the quarterback.
And I think as much as the offensive line gets talked about, I think tonight as well, I'm going to be paying attention to that defensive line.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be a big part this year if we expect the Lions to win. It's 8, 9, 10 games. And it's not even just Aiden. It's other guys as well. But, Stick, what are some other things you're looking for, man, just watching tonight in terms of expectations besides the offense?
Well, really, I was going to go back to the offense, though, but it's more about how we're going to be play calling, right? Because I feel like last year we had 3 different phases of what our team was play calling. You had the Dan Campbell that was super aggressive, creative plays, doing all that. Mm-hmm. You had the original OC who was kind of vanilla, and they got popped in the middle of the season. Then you had Ben Johnson come in and help with the play calling at the end of the season. They seemed to be a run-first offense at that point, which you know how much we struggle to even get 100-yard rushers here in Detroit. So for us to be a run-first offense was kind of exciting to see, and then we could build everything off the play action, which is Jared Goff's absolute strength. So that's really what I'm looking forward to seeing is what type of scheme are we going to be running on offense? Because I honestly don't know. I don't know Dan Campbell's true identity, because last year I feel like he was just throwing dollars to the wind, man. Like, all right, this team's not going to win. Let's see what we can do. Let's create some excitement at some level. And you saw it through the offense, but I don't think that's our true offense. And then at the end of the season, they were a lot more efficient. So are we going to come out, no huddle, Goff slinging it all over the field? Are we going to come out with the big fellas, punch you right in the mouth, and, 3 yards in a cloud of dust at first? That's what I'm looking forward to see. Like the first scripted 10 plays for offense, I think will tell us a lot about where this team is going through this season.
And that's actually a great question. And Spence, you could put up a poll. Which are you more excited to see, offense or defense? For me as well, speaking of offense, Ben Johnson, and I get it's going to be a mostly vanilla play calling. You don't give anything away during the preseason. But to your point, Stick, you get to see some identity being established.
We get a little bit. We get a little insight. They're not going to bring out the whole playbook for today. They're not going to do it, but we're going to see, all right, these are the plays that they have been working on the most in camp. Mm-hmm. These are the plays that they're most confident in. And, really when you go into any NFL game, usually the first 15 to 20 plays are scripted for an offense. So it'll be like, all right, these are the scripted plays. These will be our go-to throughout the season.
Yeah, no doubt. And right now, the votes are already coming in. 30 votes so far on the poll. What are you more excited to see, offense or defense? It's almost 50-50. So
love it.
Bottom line is, Lions fans are just excited. For me, and we're going to get into specific players, but just in totality, MCDC is a great choice. Because listen, guys, if anybody has everything to gain this year, I think one of those guys is Dan Campbell because of the national perception of Dan. From last year, listen, he won 3 games in Detroit. But now, nationally, with Hard Knocks coming out, people are like, I'm rooting for this guy. I want Dan Campbell to work out. So I think coming out in preseason, no matter how they look, just being competent is number one. Not making it look too bad. Like, even the Ravens, for example. The Ravens are like, I don't know what their streak is, but they're like undefeated in preseason.
It's like 30 games, 30 preseason games.
It's like ridiculous.
But what does that mean? I mean, how many Super Bowls they have to show
Right,
for?
Nothing. Like, so it's not even the point of it. I just want to, and look at D. Smitty says, I'm trying to see Dan Campbell go for it on 4th and 20.
That's what I don't want to see this season, right? Like, I loved how he had that riverboat gambling mentality, but sometimes I feel like he was just like, we're going to lose anyways. Yeah. Let's just see what I could, like, he treated last year, the full season, almost like a preseason. Hey, I want to put these guys in situations and see how they react. And we got some good results last year, but is Dan Campbell going to keep that up? I don't think so. I don't think that's what he wants to be.
Yeah, and one specific player I do want to bring up, are you guys nervous at all for DeAndre Swift?
Injury-wise?
Like injury-wise in the preseason.
I'm nervous for every single player injury-wise in preseason. Like, a successful preseason is coming out of this healthy.
But
honestly.
What about the ones that are more injury-prone?
Yeah, of course I'm worried about DeAndre Swift.
I would love for DeAndre to me, like, I don't need to really see anything. But I get why he's playing in the first quarter. But my worry is if DeAndre goes down for any reason at all, and again, this could happen. You could happen in practice. It's not just about preseason. But I'm keeping my eyes on DeAndre because he better stay healthy.
Yeah, I'm more worried about the health of the offensive line. I think the line is really what's going to drive this team either way this year. If those guys can be as dominant as we think they're going to be, I mean, I've seen them ranked as high as number 2 in some polls for strength of offensive line. So if we start losing pieces early like we had to last year, we lost Decker, you move Sewell over to left tackle. It ended up working out for Sewell. We saw what he could do at the left tackle. Decker came back. By the end of the season, they were coming together. But you want Ragnow healthy. You want Decker healthy. You want Sewell healthy. You want John. Like, you need these guys to just come together as a unit. And if those 5 guys can stay healthy all season, that will be beneficial than any skill player.
What about you, Sam? You worried about DeAndre? This is a guy you've said will lead the NFC in rushing. So if he's got to stay healthy to do so. So what are your thoughts on him playing in the preseason game tonight?
I mean, of course I'm worried about DeAndre Swift staying healthy because that's been his biggest sort of like kryptonite is I think he's played like 12 games in both seasons. That's not good enough. And I said that he is going to lead the NFC in rushing, but he can't do that if he's on the bench. And that's the one thing. That's always what people come back at me with. He's never been able to stay healthy. And I can't argue that. I can't account for that. But when he has been on the field, he's been productive, and he's going to hopefully have a healthy offensive line in front of him, a good run-blocking scheme, and I want to see what he can do. But if he gets hurt in the preseason, I'm definitely going to come back with a, why'd you play him? Damn it.
No, I'm going to be right there with you, Sam. And Spence, how much should we see of DeAndre Swift? Not even aside from what we are going to see, if your opinion, how much do you want to see?
None. Honestly, I don't want to see any of DeAndre Swift because we know what we have in him. We know, like Sam said, when he's on the field, when he's playing, he is productive. I don't need to see this guy in the preseason because the running back position is obviously the most violent position. You're going in there against the tackles, getting hit by linebackers, defensive linemen all the time. We know the tread wears very thin on running backs fast. We know they get turned over like no other position in the NFL. So I don't want to see much of DeAndre Swift, especially when we have guys that we could see more of, like Jamar Jefferson, like Craig Reynolds, like Justin Jackson, who we just signed. Like, these guys, I would rather see them trying to fight for that third running back, fourth running back spot than see a guy who we know who we have.
You guys are all being wusses on this, man. Like, scared money don't make money, right? And he cannot go into the regular season without taking real hits. Dan Campbell talked about this. Like, I'm preparing your body for the regular season, for what you're going to have to go through. And if we put this guy in bubble wrap, the minute he takes a real hit in the regular season, he's going to be done. But your body has to build up. Do I want to see him get rocked? Absolutely not. But do I want to see him take a little hard hit and get it back out there? Absolutely. He needs to build up. This is like a callus. You know, you got to get better. And, Joik Bell said it when he was working here. Like, it's not if, it's when you're going to get hurt. All running backs get hurt. We can't treat them like bubble wrap. We got to get this guy out there to take at least some pro hits.
No, I hear you. And just from a fan perspective, I would prefer not to see DeAndre Swift, but one thing I will prefer to see is some of the Cintron. Because it is absolutely delicious. Because Cintron is the official energy drink of the Red Wings. Cintron has combined all 3 of their delicious flavors into a limited edition 6-pack sampler box. Try Cintron's great tasting cranberry classic and sugar-free all in one pack. I'm currently drinking the classic. It is delicious. Pre-order your Cintron 6-pack sampler box today at cintronworld.com/Red Wings. Get energized with Cintron.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Hey, this is Mr. Kearney, Chief Academic Officer at Academy of Warren. I want to welcome you to the brand new field house. The state-of-the-art facility has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, soccer field. It can be used for 7-on-7 football. Our K-8 academic features AM, PM, latchkey, small classroom sizes, Learning Street, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, Holton Mifflin curriculum, academic games, K-8 athletics, and more. Enroll today at academywarren.net.
All summer long, the Monroe Street Midway is open in downtown Detroit. Enjoy basketball, roller skating, mini golf, art, live music, food trucks, and more. A fun, safe event for everyone between the ages of 1 and 100. Go to deckedoutdetroit.com for more info. That is deckedoutdetroit.com.
And we're back like we never left. Big D Energy on this Friday.
And it's game day!
And it's game day!
Game day!
We need the energy on Big D Energy. It is always this week. Look at him. He's petting it. Stick's been touching this Lion helmet. He can't let go of it.
Dan Campbell, if you need me, I'm here. I don't care about my fractured wrist. I'm ready to go tonight.
You're 6'4"?
6'4", 195. You know.
They might need you at linebacker.
Serviceable.
You got one hand, though.
I would get crushed in the NFL. Absolutely crushed.
I love the honesty.
I feel like I may be able to make a play because to bring up Joik again. When Joik was here, I always told him I could probably tackle you. I feel like I could bring you down.
You did say that.
Yeah, I feel like and he just laughed at me. You don't think so, Spence?
Not a chance.
Come on, man. Not Joik every time, but I feel like I could take the hit, wrap up, and just hang on for dear life.
Have you seen that guy's thighs? That guy is an absolute unit.
When we were playing softball together, we went up to hop and hit each other's back like that. Dude is just a house. He's
a unit.
He's like this wide.
Yeah.
He's this wide.
No,
but I have supreme confidence in myself that I could at least make a play.
Hey, speaking of supreme confidence, shifting the conversation to tonight against the Falcons, who are some players you have supreme confidence in to watch tonight?
Oof. I've been sticking with the big nasties. I want to see Penei Sewell. I want to see what he's done from year 1 to year 2. To me, because last year when we got to look at him, he had taken a year off at Oregon, right? Yep. So we saw him a year removed from playing any football, never playing at the NFL level, and coming out and actually being a dominant force. And if he was able to build on that, and he's talked about that, just how he's felt more comfortable coming in this year to his second year, and really with all those guys that are coming into their second year and just getting familiar with Dan Campbell and the system, and just where to be at Allen Park, where to park, just stuff like that makes your life easier. I really want to see Penei Sewell just absolutely manhandle people tonight. Not get beat on anything, drive people off the ball, grab people by the neck like they're Aaron Donald. I want to see the nasty, ugly side of this guy. And then once the first quarter's done, he could be the nice guy and go over to the sidelines and be all healthy. But really, he's the guy I'm focusing on tonight because I'm the most excited to see him. I mean, he's our guy. Not often do you have a star lineman. We got 4.
Yeah, we do. One of the best offensive lines in the league, not according to ESPN analytics. But I do want to keep the conversation going. To me, I'm going to go Jeff Okudah. I have a couple, but my first one is going to be Jeff Okudah for obvious reasons.
Yep.
He just needs to win some battles. That's what I'm looking for, not stand out for the wrong reasons. This is a guy who was battling for the opposite side of Amani Oruwariye over Will Harris, and apparently Will Harris has been looking pretty good. I'm looking at Jeff Okudah tonight. I think he has a lot to prove considering what's been coming out of training camp, coming off that Achilles injury, which is literally the toughest injury in football, especially for a cornerback. You got to move backwards. It's terrible. But I am excited to see Jeff. I think he looks good. He looks in shape, and I want to see what he can show tonight. But Spence, who's somebody you're looking forward to see?
I'm also going to go stick with the big nasties, but I'm going to go on the other side of the ball, and I'm going to say Lee McNeil because I want to see him a lot. Like I said earlier, is the big, the attack defense, though. We're not waiting and reacting anymore. We're going at it. And I think a lot of that starts with Lee McNeil in the trenches right there in the middle of the defensive line, because if he can create pressure on the quarterback, if he can get the quarterback off his spot, it makes everybody's job easier on the defense. It'll spread out. It'll make it easier for the edge rushers coming off the ends. It'll make it easier for the linebackers to fill those gaps and make hits. It'll make it easier for the secondary because they won't have to guard guys for 4, 5, 6 seconds. So I want to see Lee McNeil down there in the middle, throwing people around and getting in the backfield.
Spencer, that's a great one with Aleem McNeil. I'm going to go with Aiden Hutchinson for me, and that's obvious because Aiden Hutchinson is my guy. He's my favorite Michigan player of all time, and now he's on the Lions. That's pretty cool. But honestly, with Aiden Hutchinson, to me, with the Lions, he is the key to unlocking a really, really good to potentially great down the road defensive line. He's the number 2 pick. He's the guy that you want to lead them in sacks, lead them in quarterback pressures. And honestly, tonight, just for the preseason, I'm usually pretty measured. But if Aiden Hutchinson gets a sack, I'm going to be like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme, like, you know, like just pointing at the screen, like he's going to get about 12 of those in the regular season and all that like measuredness. I'll just be like, ha, Aiden Hutchinson, let's go.
No, you're not alone. I see people in the YouTube chat thread talking about it. I want to see Hutch. Everyone's talking about Hutchinson. I think that's a great one for obvious reasons. Again, number 2 overall pick this year. Aiden's one of mine. I'm looking to see. I want to see how he translates. I want to see him in action. People talk about the size, the strength, and even the athleticism that Lions coaches have talked about that wasn't expected, which, let's be honest, I mean, looking at Aiden, the athleticism is surprising, but we get that. You kind of read under the lines there. But with Aiden, I'm very excited. He can come out against the Falcons, play against not a very good offensive line. Even if they're starting, they have their backups in. He's going to have a chance to show some flashes. But another one I do want to see, which is kind of underrated, is the Jared Goff, Ben Johnson communication.
Yeah.
And I want to see how they work together because they have a relationship. Ben Johnson's talked about it. Jared spoke highly about Ben Johnson. I want to see the chemistry between those two, how they work together because we saw glimpses of Jared Goff to end the season, 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He played very well to close the season as Ben Johnson running the passing game. Dan Campbell was calling plays, but still, I want to see the relationship. I want to see if the play, because the play calling is going to be minimal. It's going to be vanilla, but still, you want to see how they communicate and how Jared Goff leads the huddle. But I do see the poll. Spencer just posted it. It's got 33 votes. 4 options: Hutch, Okudah, Sewell, or McNeil.
I want to throw somebody else in the mix, too.
Who is it?
DJ Chark. We've been watching this guy make play after play after play in training camp, diving, leaping over defenders, running away from people. He could be a very sneaky one-year signing that the Lions stole from the rest of the NFL. And the fact that he chose to come here, I'm not sure how many other options that he had, but I'm sure DJ Chark, a one-time Pro Bowler, young guy, I know he's coming off an injury, but he had options. He could have gone somewhere else. He chose to come here. Obviously, it was pre-Jameson Williams. I'm not sure if he knew we were going to draft him, but watching this guy in practice, if he could translate any of that onto the field and give us that true deep threat, because you saw when Reynolds came in last year, mid-season, it changed completely how we approached the game. Like, we weren't even throwing deep at all. Now we have 2 legitimate deep threats on the outside, plus your Amon-Ra St. Brown running over the middle, plus TJ Hockenson. Like, we have a 4-headed monster of a receiving core right there. And if DJ Chark can bust loose tonight and become that reliable downfield presence, which we know he can be, because we saw it in Jacksonville when he was playing with dog crap quarterbacks, it's going to be a nice piece if we can get him going.
No, that's a great point. I think DJ Chark is kind of an underrated one as well. A guy who, you know, you're expecting this year he's going to kind of fill the void while Jameson Williams is out. And even after, he's still going to be a significant piece. You got him for 1 year, $10 million. Thank you, Brad Holmes, by the way. I think Chark is going to be very productive. But a lot of guys are coming out with something to prove. And I go to the YouTube chat thread. A lot of guys are putting their own opinions. Matt says Chark, Pimpleton, and Funchess.
Pimpleton, I wonder if Funchess is going to get any run.
Yeah, because I checked the depth chart the other day, and Funchess is probably the 4th or 5th tight end on there. So I'm curious to see how he moves up and makes a name for himself. And Sam, I see you smirking over there about Devin Funchess. What are you thinking about Devin? What's on your mind?
I mean, I don't think he's going to be a factor on this team. I mean, he had a few good years with Carolina, but those years are long behind him. I don't think he's taken a snap in the NFL. Was it 2019 or 2020, something like that?
Yeah, he took COVID. He took the year off because of COVID.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of faith in him. But at the same time, like, do we need him? I don't think so. He's just a flyer. So from that perspective, I don't mind giving him a shot. I just don't expect much.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to approach it. Like when they take a swing on a guy like Devin Funchess, it's like, hey, if he works out, it's beneficial. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But Pimpleton, I do see Pimpleton.
Yeah, people are blowing up Pimpleton.
Listen,
why are you all excited to see Pimpleton so much?
Local kid.
Central guy.
Yeah, central guy.
I know, but still, like, all right.
Yeah, for Pimpleton, it's like, for me, to be a returner, special teams guy, I think he can make an impact. But in terms of making catching passes, well, maybe we'll see him in the preseason. But I don't know what to expect for him come the regular season. I think he might just be a toy you can use.
I don't even know if he's making the roster, to be honest.
That's
with
a good.
you.
That's a good point.
That wide receiver room is pretty tough this year to make the team. It's not like last year when we signed Tyrell Williams and he was immediately our number one. Like if Tyrell Williams was still on this team this year, he'd be 4th or 5th easily.
No doubt about it. I see Pimpleton's getting a lot of love. Pimpleton will be a great gadget wide receiver, and this is the fun part. The hopium.
Yeah,
starts flowing in.
I root for local guys. I want local guys to do well, but let's be honest too.
Yeah, no doubt.
What are we doing?
You got to have a little bit of a reality check and understand that a lot of these guys just aren't going to make the roster. Detroit mentality says Raymond is proven. Yeah, Raymond's an option that people sleep on. A guy who made an impact last year, who now is like your 4th best receiver, but he'll still be making an impact. But yeah, we want to. Cephas is another one. I mean, he had the injury, but I'm hoping he can play tonight. We'll see. And Hutchinson leads the voting right now between Hutchinson, Okudah, Sewell, or McNeil. The people are voting 55% Hutchinson. They're excited to see it. And Okudah, number 2. So those are 2 guys I'm going to have my eyes on the most, just because of the expectations I have for them. But yeah, Pimpleton is getting a lot of love in the chat.
Yeah, Ryan Clark says, I will not accept this slander. This isn't slander.
No slander to
It's just trying to bring y'all back to earth, trying to settle it down. I mean, if he does make the roster, at best he's going to be a special teams player. Like we said, this is a rough wide receiver room to make, so you're not sure, are they going to carry 8 wide receivers? Hell no.
No.
So like I said, rooting for the kid, put it on tape. Hopefully it's an audition for him to get somewhere else. But at best, he's going to be a great practice squad player for us and some depth that we can bring up.
Right.
And I hope he proves me wrong, by the way. I hope he comes out and balls out and becomes the next big star. I hope I'm wrong, but history has shown I'm not.
Yeah, and we're talking about how Pimpleton will make an impact on this offense. But what about that guardian alarm defense, Stick? Can you tell us about Guardian Alarm?
I mean, I'm telling you, if the Lions can be 10% of what Guardian Alarm provides for your home, we are going to be Super Bowl champions this year, because that's what champions do. They make people stay out of the end zone. Guardian Alarm makes them stay out your house. And all you got to do is call 1-800-STAY-OUT right now. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. You mentioned Woodward Sports. They got a free gift for you, too, when you sign up for a home package, and they'll watch it 24/7. You can go out of town, go up north for the weekend, and know that your house and everything that you have built in your life is safe. So call it again. 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You can get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
So we always have people asking us, where can I get Woodward Sports stuff? Well, we do have a shop online, but you know what? If you want a free t-shirt, I'm talking $0 out of your pocket.
Zero!
You walk into Big Frog and Novi, say, hey, Woodward Sports says I could get a t-shirt. They'll print you one right on the spot because they can print things right away. They have a 24-hour turnaround on any order that you want. So go in and get your free Woodward Sports t-shirt today, this weekend, whenever. We're doing it the entire month of August. So go get that free t-shirt if you're in Novi, right in the Novi Town Center, kind of by the Walmart right there. So I gave you some directions. Go to Big Frog, get your free t-shirt, and then take a picture and send it to us on social media because we'd love to see you in it. You look great wearing Woodward Sports stuff, so go get your free t-shirt. Big Frog, Novi.
We're back. Big D Energy. Stick alongside Jeff Iafrate. I'm filling in for Neil Rule this week. Stick is in for Darren McCarty.
Yes,
you
sir.
will catch them Tuesday. But until then, we got to cover some things. We got Lions football tonight, preseason action, and I do want to start the conversation and also bring it to the people. What are some takeaways you can even have tonight against the Falcons in the Lions' first preseason game?
Like we said, it's preseason. Temper your expectations. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. But like you were talking about earlier, just looking for the cohesiveness of the team. Dan Campbell was talking about them breaking a huddle. And it goes back to Little League. Like, if you guys can't break a huddle in unison, there's no way you're going to be able to run a play in unison. So it's just the little things that I'm looking for. Are they going to clean that stuff up? That really wasn't – mental errors weren't a big issue for this team last year, so I don't expect them to be a big issue for the team coming into this year. But really, I just want to see them move as a unit. And, you saw it with the Aiden Hutchinson, Billie Jean thing. The whole team got hype, and that's what you want to see, right? Like, you want these guys to show that they're in this together, that they have each other's backs, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing tonight.
Yeah, certainly, the camaraderie. And you could take away individual performances and find out what we have on the Lions, but seeing the depth you have is number one for me. But Sam Flannel, I'll go to you. What are some things you're looking to take away from the preseason tonight?
Well, Stick said something earlier that I thought really stood out about like Ben Johnson and Jared Goff and sort of the scheme. What kind of scheme are they going to run? I know it's going to be watered down, but to me, Ben Johnson is the key to unlocking Jared Goff, if Jared Goff can be unlocked into a very, very good quarterback. And can he be the Kyle Shanahan to Matt Ryan and Jimmy Garoppolo? I know that's big shoes to fill, like comparing Ben Johnson to Kyle Shanahan, but is he going to have a creative offense that, gets schemes guys open and unlocks Jared Goff's powers? Because even he was under Sean McVay, and he looked really good for a couple of years in Los Angeles. So that's kind of my thing that I want to see.
Some of my takeaways I want to make sure guys are in the right spot, doing the right things. Like, they don't look lost out there. Like you guys said, this is preseason. You're not going to see the full, wrath of Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn's playbooks. But I want to see guys out there looking comfortable, looking like NFL players, making plays in the right spots. I don't want to see people all over the place, not losing assignments, breaking off on different routes, receivers wide open running down the field. I want to see people attached to other people and make sure that we're making good football plays.
No, absolutely. And I think that's the things you need to take away from this preseason game tonight. But kind of moving away from preseason, because I do want to have a conversation, and I prepared some questions for the guys in the studio to ask them, and everyone in the chat, feel free to chime in and get your thoughts on it as well. I'm going to do a little fun segment. I'm going to call it a little pivot, an audible, if you will.
Omaha.
Pivot. An Omaha, like
Pivot.
Spencer said.
Pivot.
And I do want to ask you guys, the first one I have is, and you put a little something on, Sam, if you got a little soundtrack, I can start asking these
calling
questions.
for the music too, Jeff.
Dude,
you gotta be honest, you've really taken control of the ship this weekend. You're driving this bad boy.
I appreciate that. I'm trying. I'm loving it. Hey, when you sit in this spot by Neil Rule, you get a little snooty. You know what I mean?
And you're all about the money, apparently.
And about the money. So that's what it's all about. But for the first question, I do want to ask Aiden Hutchinson. We're all excited to see him. But over/under, and this isn't based off any website. This is me. I'm making these.
Soft ass reporter.
This isn't copyright. Aiden Hutchinson,
Nerd.
over/under 9.5 sacks. I'll start with you, Stick.
Oof, 9.5 is a great number to put this at. I got to be honest with you. Like, that is, because that gets me thinking both ways, right? And we did a fill in the blank last week on the bottom line, and I think Braylon put him at 13.
Woo!
I'm going to be at 9. I'm going to go under, but slightly under. If he gets 9 this season,
it's a good year.
I think it's going to be a good year, right?
Yeah.
That's a good indication of what's to come. If he gets 13, I ain't going to be mad either, but 9. I'm going to go with 9, so I'm going under on this.
Okay, he goes under. 9 sacks, Sam Flannel. The Aiden Hutchinson, one of his biggest fans, I could argue. You have him high hopes this season. I kind of know your answer, but dive into it. Why is it the over?
So yes, it is the over, and one of the reasons is because I think he is very talented. He's one of those guys that's going to step right in, and you're going to know he's really good, like a Bosa brother. And honestly, too, like, that defensive line, it could be very good. Guys like Ali McNeil, Romeo Okwara, Charles Harris will take pressure off of Aiden Hutchinson. I don't think he'll see as many double teams as if he was playing on a poor defensive line. So he'll have all the opportunities. He's going to be the #1 sack guy on this team. Book it, 12 sacks, Aiden Hutchinson, over.
Book it, he says. Book it. Not even he's going to have. Book it.
I love Sam's confidence when he says those things. He's like, book it. 12 sacks. Spence, what do you think?
I'm going to push Because that's my number since the day he's been drafted
you can't push
is 9.5 sacks. I said he's going to be. You can get half a sack.
I know.
I have him at 9.5 sacks. I've said, ask Sam. I've been saying it literally the whole time. 9.5 has been my number. It's not my fault, man. Great minds think alike. I'm pushing. I'm having him at 9.5 right on the dot.
Yeah, and that's probably why I first thought of 9.5. Spencer, you're right on the dot. So Spencer's meeting in the middle, but I do want to go to the people and get to the poll in the YouTube chat thread. If you're listening, chime in. Hutchinson, over under 9.5 sacks, 58%. Now it's 60%. Choose over, under 40%. So a lot of people excited for the number 2 overall pick.
21, book it.
Y'all better put your money where your mouth is. The guys, his over under on DraftKings and FanDuel is set at 7. So,
that's an over.
So we're all over that.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it. For me, I'll give my answer. I'm going to say under, but slightly. 9 sacks or 9.5. I could see it. But double-digit sacks his first year, although I would be excited, delighted. I don't know if it's possible, but who knows? He could impress us. I'm going to move on to the next one, and we're going to go to the quarterback position. Jared Goff. Over under 24.5 touchdowns passing.
Over? It's got to be over. If we're going to have a successful season, it's got to be over 24 because you said passing, and we know he ain't rushing. So, if we only have 24 touchdowns like that, obviously DeAndre Swift and, Swaggy will help get some touchdowns on the ground. But, no, Goff needs to have a 30-touchdown year for us to be successful this year, at minimum. At minimum 30. So, not only am I going over on this, I'm going way over. I'm talking 32 touchdowns is what Jared Goff's going to do.
Wow! I love it.
32!
I love it.
Book it! Book it!
I love the confidence. I'm going to Spence, Jared Goff. Hey, listen, you'll tell it out like it is, Spence, about Jared Goff. 24
Don't clip
touchdowns.
that spit on my face either, man. I went a little too hard there.
Spence, over under 24.5 passing touchdowns.
I'm going over, but I'm not going over by a landslide. Again, before we got into training camp, before any of this, you could ask Sam again. I said I have Jared Goff at 26 touchdowns, 12 picks this year. So I'm going to go over, but not by a lot.
I am going to go over as well. I think I have at about 27 or 28, and that's because it's a 17-game season. It doesn't take that much to have 27 or 28, and the weapons he's going to have at his disposal are so much better than last year, and that alone will pump up his touchdown pass level a lot.
And I love Nicholas Duncan in the chat. 42-8. Book it!
Book it!
MVP season. Apparently to the chat, they're going 15-2, and Jared's throwing 42-8.
Apparently to the chat, yeah, they're going 15-2. Jared Goff's over 25 touchdowns, and Hutch is over 10 sacks.
God, I wish I could bathe in some Kool-Aid right now. Oh, just come on! Oh, give it all to me.
I love it. Actually, I'm going.
Somebody clip that.
Pause.
I can't do it today.
Oh, yeah.
I will say I'm going over. I think he'll, like Sam, I agree. I think he'll get close to 30 touchdowns on the season. Going over 30, that'd be a great year by Jared Goff. I mean, I'll take that. And it seems the YouTube chat thread, they agree. 92% choose the over. So Lions fans, they believe in their quarterback. So we got Aiden, we got Jared Goff. I'm going to go to DeAndre Swift. Over under rushing yards, 900.
Oh. I mean, we know what Sam Flannel's going to say. He expects him to lead the entire NFL in rushing. And actually, I was reading an article on CBSSports.com, I believe, Matt Berry Fantasy Football, and he had a breakout star. And his breakout star at running back is going to be DeAndre Swift. And barring injury, I think we can all agree that that's the preface of this conversation. Barring injury, he should see well over 900 yards on the ground. We could have a 1,000-yard rusher here in Detroit. It could happen. 17 games helps, but it could happen.
Yeah, but like you said, it's 17 games, this offensive line, how the Lions, their offense is going to operate. I think it'll run through DeAndre Swift. Going to you, Sam Flannel. One of your guys again, DeAndre, over 900. Why is it over?
Well, Stick, I never said NFL, I said NFC. And of course it is over. I expect him to have something like 1,200. And it's because the offensive line is so good. He's going to be able to run through a lot of gaping holes and hopefully stays healthy to me. Pause, right?
Pontiac on a Tuesday, man.
No, resume.
No, and the thing, too, is Jamal Williams is good. Guys like Craig Reynolds are kind of replacement level. DeAndre Swift is the clear number one. If he stays healthy running behind that offensive line with his talent, I got him for between 12 and 1,300.
I'm gonna go under. I'm sorry to hate. Sorry to smash the parade, but I do, like you guys said, like Joyce said,
push.
It's not an if, it's when running backs will get hurt. I don't expect him to have a serious injury, but I don't expect him to play 17 games as well. And I think if this was all-purpose yards at like 1,500 or 1,700,
I can feel that.
I'd go with that. But I think he'll have, close to the 900 mark on the ground, and then like 600 in receiving or something like that.
And before, I do want to give my thoughts because you got to go to break. I do have more questions, which we will continue after the break. But before we go to break, I got to say, with DeAndre, I'm excited this season. And Jamal Williams, Craig Reynolds, Jamar Jefferson, I'm curious to see how they all get utilized. But DeAndre Swift, I'm going over. And maybe it's not at 1,000, but I think slightly. And the biggest component to that is staying healthy. But before we go to our next couple questions, I do got to tell you about our friends at Big Boy, because they got the ciabattas, the summer salads, the hand dick shakes, all that Big Boy. Try a chicken club, a chicken cordon bleu, or sunrise ham and cheddar, all on our grilled ciabatta bread. And don't forget to cool off with a nice hand-dipped cookies and cream or strawberry shake. You heard it here first. Summer just got better at Big Boy.
Ciabattas.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play. And before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
Welcome back to Big D Energy here on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Jeff Iafrate, filling in for Neil Rule. Alongside me, Sam, Stick, Day, and we're going to continue the questions, and we're going to keep going to the people. We left off on DeAndre Swift. We already covered Aiden, Jared Goff, now Swift. And I do want to shift the conversation, or really stay on offense. And I'm going to go TJ Hockenson, over under 900 yards receiving. Stick, I'm starting with you. TJ Hockenson, big year for him. You think he gets over 900?
This is a big year for him. I think in past years, I probably would have taken the over, but I think with how many weapons we have this year, there's only one football, right? And let's say Jared Goff throws, even if he throws for 4,000 yards, you're telling me a quarter of those are only going to Hockenson? That's tough for me to compute in my head, and it's just a lot, right? And you hope that the ball's been spread around a little more than that. So I'm gonna go under. I gotta go under.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What are you laughing about, El Jefe?
I'm dying at the chat because Spencer just put a poll in the chat and he used a very specific term to describe Hockenson.
I was going to type it out, but I thought I don't know what you.
Yeah, you're being PG.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that. And
he's no Tommy Lee, but what are we going to do? Did you guys see that top? Not to take a hard left, but. My God, Tommy Lee. I mean, we all saw it with the Pam Anderson, but
dude's got a blessing.
He dropped it on Instagram yesterday and just caption said, "Oops." What a G. Anyways.
Oh, my God. You guys just cracked me up. And I do want to go to the chat a little bit before I get to Sam and Spence. I already have some answers coming in. I see under. I see a couple overs. I'm thinking 700. It seems split right now. The poll is 60% under for TJ Hockenson, 40% over. Sam Flannel, what do you think? What's going to happen with TJ? Over under 900 receiving yards.
To me, this is under. Honestly, 1,000-yard seasons are reserved for people like Kelsey and George Kittle and Mark Andrews, and I don't think TJ Hockenson is at that level. I think he'll have something like 750, maybe a big threat in the red zone. This wide receiver group, this pass-catching group is just so loaded. There's only one ball. He's not going to see enough targets to get to 900. I say under.
I am also going to go under. One of my other bold bold predictions for the season was that TJ Hockenson would lead this team in receiving touchdowns, but yards, I don't think so. Like Stick said, there's only one ball. You have so many guys out there. I think Amon-Ra is going to lead the team in yards, and then I think you'll have DJ Chark for the first half of the season, and then J-Mo in the second half of the season. I could see TJ being anywhere between 700 to 800 yards, but again, he's a guy that hasn't stayed healthy for a full year in quite a few years. So since his rookie year was the last time he stayed healthy for a whole year. So I don't know if he can stay healthy, maybe, but there's still only one ball, and we got a lot of weapons out there.
But I think the important question is yards is important, but with Hockenson, I think we measure him by touchdowns, not yards.
Exactly. That's actually what you said it. Like, that's it right there. You look at touchdowns, and I'm actually with Spence. I think I was on Big D when we both agreed there too. I think TJ will lead this team in receiving touchdowns, along with another guy, DJ Chark, which will ball this year. But I do see the people coming in. Majority do say under. So again, I mean, you could still have 800. You're still under. So TJ will have a good year, but it's staying healthy. And there's only one football to go around, to you guys' point. So wrap that one up. I do want to get to a spicy one. This isn't an over-under. You need an answer for this one. Who's going to lead the wide receiver room for the most receiving yards? And Spence, you kind of gave it away already, but I do want to start with you, Sam. Who do you think?
Sam me or Sam Flannel?
Oh, Stick.
We got two Sams on the show.
I got to say Stick.
It's crazy. We got three Sams that work at this network, and I've never really hung out with other Sams in my entire life.
And nobody calls any of them Sam. You're Stick, Fish, and Flannel.
Stick, Fish.
That's how you got to separate them.
Well, that's why we separated Fish. I'm like, listen, I'm not going to be walking through the halls and someone say Sam, and I got to turn around 800 times. So either way.
Imagine having a podcast real quick. You three Sams.
The Sams?
Sam's Club.
Three Sams, baby.
Sam's Club.
Cake Cam. Either way. So what was the question? No, who's going to lead the wide receiver room?
Who's going to lead wide receivers and yards?
It has to be Josh Reynolds. Rogelio Castillo, the ghost of Rogelio in the Cake Cam chair. The wide receiver room, I want to say Amon-Ra St. Brown just because of what he did last year, but I think he got so many opportunities last year because he was the only viable option, right? And as much as it's counterintuitive, I'm hoping he's not as a part of the game as he was last year, because that means we have other people contributing. He was the only one contributing last year, so he would kind of be my first choice, but I also want to defer to one of our top wide receivers, and this is where DJ Chark, I think, can surprise a lot of people, because when he gets yards, he gets them in chunks.
There you go.
Amon-Ra may catch 5 balls, it'll be for 40 yards. DJ Chark's going to catch 1 for 75. Like, that's his game.
No doubt about it. What about you, Sam?
I've got Amon-Ra St. Brown. If Jamison Williams were guaranteed to play a whole year, I'd probably put him. But at the same time, what the chemistry that Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown were able to develop at the end of last season, I think is something that will carry over. Amon-Ra St. Brown just seems to have that gift of being able to get open. He gets open all the time, and when he's targeted, he does not drop passes ever. The stats point that out. It'll be Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Spence, I heard you kind of hit it to it, and I kind of agree with you. Who do you think leads the wide receiver room?
Yeah, it's mine and Sam's favorite stat in the history of the NFL last year, where Amon-Ra was the only receiver to catch more than 70 balls and have a 0% drop rate. Yep. So he is going to never drop the ball. I think he will get the most consistent targets on the team, because I think in the beginning of the year, it'll be a lot of DJ Chark, and then after J-Mo comes back, they'll kind of, butcher each other for those targets deep down the field, but Amon-Ra will get the most consistent targets, probably around 8 to 10 a game, and he's not going to squander those opportunities. So I'm going Amon-Ra. I think he's around 1,200 yards this year. Yeah, he did 900, and he didn't play like the first 4 games of the year last year.
It's true.
But like I said, though, I don't think he's going to be like the safety valve go-to guy all the time, because it just seemed like, Goff fell in love with him. It's like, this is the only guy that's going to catch the effing ball when I throw it to him. So I got to get it to him every play. But the fact that he's able to get open every play, I don't know. This is a tough one for me.
Especially this year, now that they have other weapons, like that might help him as well, because he'll see more nickelback, linebacker coverage, safeties instead of a defensive back on him.
Yeah, it's tough, because you want him to have a better year, but you also understand that he's going to get more attention. The offense isn't going to be the same, so I don't want us to have these crazy expectations be let down.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of things that go into it. And there you can see the notable, the Kate Camp that is now addition. But I do got to say on Amon-Ra St. Brown, though, for me, it's a tough one. A part of me wants to say, and we were talking about this last week on Big D Energy. For Amon-Ra last year, he was kind of an unknown, coming out. People didn't know what to expect. Now teams can game plan for Amon-Ra. But another thing, and Spencer brought it up, he's got more talent. So certainly he can have similar yards, but still have a better year. He might look even better. So for me, I'm going to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown because of who's at quarterback. And because of, I know their game, trust me. And Jared Goff, as much as we want to, love that he become that guy who can take chances downfield. I want to see it. I don't know if he can do it consistently. So I have more faith in Amon-Ra from intermediate to short passing game. That's the bread and butter for him. And I think he can even get better at that. And he said it too. Ben Johnson talked to him saying, listen, I told Amon-Ra St. Brown one of the things you need to work on was yards after catch. And Amon-Ra was like, all right, bet. I'm working on it. And he's been working on that all off season. So this year, hopefully he's not just a possession receiver, but he can get down and get some chunks too. So I'm going with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Right now, the YouTube chat thread has, wow, it's close.
I like this comment, though, by Third Minded. When has a slot wide receiver led a team in yardage and a balanced attack? And that's kind of my point, too. Like, now he's going to sit at a true number 3, and I don't know if he's going to get the volume to be that guy this year.
No, and it's a great point. A lot of weapons. You got to spread. You're only one football. You got to spread the wealth. And weapons.
Multiple weapons. Multiple weapons.
It's an inside joke for you true Woodward sports fans. You'll understand that. But the YouTube chat thread, the poll asked, who leads the team in receiving yards? 42% for the Sun God, 43% for DJ Chark, 11% for J-Mo, and 4% for you-know-who.
If Jamison Williams leads the team in receiving this year, we will be having an awful season. I just want to throw that out there. We're all rooting for him, but the guy's not even going to come back to like week 7. And if he's able to make up 7 weeks
what are we doing
on these guys, that means we didn't do a damn thing the first 7 weeks of the season.
And that's why we really don't. I mean, yeah, J-Mo is not going to lead this team in receiving this year, but in the future, he could.
To that guy's point who asked about the slot receivers, Cooper Kupp's a slot receiver. Like,
is he? No.
Yes, he is.
He is. Receiver.
I'm not saying Amon-Ra is going to be Cooper Kupp, but Cooper Kupp is a slot receiver, and he won the Triple Crown last year. I thought he was their 1 or 2. I know he goes into the slot and plays that sometimes, but I thought he was their 1 or 2. No, he's
it was
the
always
slot
him
guy,
and Woods.
Because they had Woods and OBJ on the outside, and when when Woods got hurt, they had Van Jefferson and OBJ on the outside, and Kupp's in the slot.
Okay.
It's like he's not always in the slot, but he is mostly in the slot. The same with another one, Tyler Lockett, another guy. You can move around. You can play him outside, play him inside. And I think Amon-Ra can get to that point as well. You can move him around, play him in different positions.
What about Pimpleton? We haven't talked about him.
More Pimpleton talk! No, listen.
Respect Pimpleton. No, have a great game tonight.
Yeah, no, he's exciting too. I mean, you see him all over social media. I love what the Lions posting on all their socials. He's a great character. But a lot of guys, a lot of people chiming into the YouTube chat thread. I see Golden Tate was the last, I think, when talking about slot receivers playing well for the Detroit Lions. Khalif Raymond got too much guaranteed money to cut him. He's a lock to make the team. Yeah, of course. I'm excited to see all these guys. A lot of depth on the Detroit Lions. But before we go to break, next topic, we're going to get into a couple things. But number one, I do want to speak on the leadership for the Detroit Lions in this franchise and how different it is, truly. And Stick, you can provide tons of insight because you're a Lions fan.
Because I'm old?
Well,
is that what you're going to say, Jeff?
Day one.
I'm the oldest one sitting up here?
I mean, kind of true. But also, another point of it is,
I've seen them win a playoff game in my life.
You're a diehard Lions fan, so you'll keep it real.
Yes.
But before we go to break, we do got to talk about our friends from the Academy of Warren.
Yeah, Academy of Warren is so awesome. Not only do they provide great schooling for your kids, but they also have great facilities too, athletic complex and all that good stuff. So you can enroll now, academyofwarren.net, and go check it out. Go experience it. Go get a taste of what it would be like to send your kid there. They got K-8 athletics, and I'm telling you, if you're looking for a special place where they have access to everything, Academy of Warren is where it's at. Go enroll today, academyofwarren.net.
Academy.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risks, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Hey, it's Scott from the Woodward Bet Show. Hey, it's Friday. We're fired up. We got some Lions football tonight. We got some baseball here to pay attention to. But listen, before you guys get all excited, you got to get over to that app store and download oddstrader.com. It's got live scoring, play-by-play updates. It's the best place to check all the odds of the sports books right in the palm of your hand. But listen, we need some fun coupons. It's the weekend. Of course, that's what we do. So listen, tonight we're going to bet on the Orioles, the best team to bet on all season. Voth, but they only got 2 losses in his last 10 starts. Sounds good to me. Oddstrader.com. Woodward Bets. Check it out.
Welcome!
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports.
One more
Either
time.
way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Spencer's on heavyweights. He just keeps running those promos over and over and over. Like, guys, 5 to 7, the heavyweights right here on Woodward Sports.
Don't forget it! But right now it is 11-1. Big D Energy. We're back. We're back in the flesh, and I do want to talk about the leadership
Tommy
for
Lee
the
Energy.
Detroit Lions. No, you're no doubt about it. Detroit Lions leadership and how different it's been, because in my lifetime, I've got to see Matt Millen. I've got to see Bob Quinn. I've got to see different guys that, even from a general manager perspective, but coaches as well. Jim Caldwell, who I actually like Jim Caldwell, but considering
I love Jim Caldwell.
Yeah, you got to give some love to Jim Caldwell, and I know Stick loves
best
Jim
coach in
Caldwell.
Lions history.
That's your guy.
Best coach in Lions
That's
history.
your guy. But I do want to say, how different is it really been? Because you see it right now, headed in the right direction. I mean, listen, I'll just take 3 of those people. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll take Sheila, Brad, and Dan. Rod Wood. It's Rod Wood. But to get into the segment,
He's a finance guy.
He's a finance guy.
Yeah, it's a post from Stephen Tulloch, and he said, leadership is the foundation to success. The team is headed in the right direction, and I'm here for it.
And that's exactly it. And that's national perspective as well. Like, if you look at it, it's different. And whether you want to believe it or not, I'm just sick of the SOL stuff, considering Brad Holmes right now in 2 seasons or 2 drafts is the best general manager I have ever seen. And I only can speak for myself in terms of how he operates. He has a plan for everything. He's very, especially come the draft time, he's great at identifying talent. He understands the process. Dan Campbell, I like him. I'm not sold on him yet. I got to see how it translates to the football field.
Blasphemy!
Blasphemy! But I do got to say, Sheila Ford, or now Sheila Hamp.
Sheila Hamp.
That's what I like. That's what I got to respect, too. No Ford, using Hamp. I think Sheila has done everything in her power, at least lately, to try and change that SOL narrative. But, Stick, what are some things you've noticed, the difference with this new regime?
The thing that really sticks out for me is Detroit has a culture now.
Right.
We haven't had a culture in, I can't tell you how many years. And, when Matt Patricia got here with his boy, what was it? We're going to try to do it the Patriot way.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to try to emulate that. And even like when Mariucci came here back in the day, it was like, all right, we're going to run the San Francisco offense. We're going to bring in Jeff Garcia, right? We kept trying to be something else. We kept trying to emulate something else, and you can't do that. You got to be an original, and I think we can all agree Dan Campbell is one of one. There is no other Dan Campbell.
Right.
And he's not sitting here trying to be anybody else. What he's done, in my opinion, is taken the best aspects from his mentors. He's taken the creative play calling and lay your nuts on the line, Sean Payton approach, because he studied under Sean. What I learned in Hard Knocks is he also learned under Bill Parcells, who brought him into the coaching realm, period. Bill Parcells was a hard-nosed SOB. Dan has taken that, but he's also a player coach too. So he's taken that hard nose from Bill Parcells, but he's lightened it up and he's learned how to teach these kids today. So that's what I'm really excited for, and that's what really stands out to me is somebody eventually is going to do it the Lions way. Mm-hmm. I think what Dan Campbell and they're doing now with Hard Knocks, and you're seeing the team having fun. Listen, I want you guys to wear whatever the hell you want. When I hire you, you don't have to cut your dreads. I'm not here to look for a bunch of bankers and accountants to be looking good. I'm here for football guys that know football, and you don't have to change who you are when you step on this field as a Detroit Lion. That is emboldening for a lot of players. That is welcoming for a lot of players. A lot of free agents want to come play for a franchise like that. So, to me, that's the biggest thing. we have an identity, and somebody may actually copy us for once.
And I see the comments. Here we go. Coming in already. Steve-O Baby says, Sam, stop it. Just stop. The season hasn't started yet. He was 3-13 last year. Come on now.
Yeah, okay. I know what the record was, but what was the culture like? Did the team quit halfway through the season? Did they pout when they were down? Or did they fight every single snap? Were they in almost every single game? Were they hitting hard? Were they knowing going into battle with a lack of talent? Putting that aside and saying our effort can take us to a win. So, yeah, you're right. His record is what it is, but I'm looking at the culture. I'm looking at the response from the team, and I'm looking at how he leads these men. And if Hard Knocks is any indication of it, if the last 6 games of last season are any indication of it, I'm here for all of it. And the past is the past. The record's on the books. We focus on moving forward, and we keep that momentum going.
And I'm not a big guy of looking at their win-loss record and being like, all right, that's it. 3 wins, that's what they are. You have to really look at what they're building, the players they're trying to add, kind of the way Brad Holmes has approached this rebuild. Look at it like this. In a year or 2 years, 2 drafts, specifically 1 season, you've gotten Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, you've gotten Jameson Williams, Aiden Hutchinson, you've gotten Lee McNeil, Levi Ozarike. We're kind of waiting to see on Levi, but you got tons of guys this year that may be valuable in the future, that can make an impact. It's about just finding talent. And I get it. They didn't spend money in the offseason. They ain't supposed to. It's not the time right now. They still have a lot more to build on. So I do want to go to you, Spence. In terms of the leadership from top to bottom, how different is it now?
It feels different. It definitely feels different. And not even from my perspective. Like, my dad has been a Lions fan for 70 years. And he's telling me it's different. He's telling me that this feels like something that he hasn't experienced in a long time.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see that. It's cool when you see a lot of people talk crap about Sheila celebrating with them after that win against the Vikings. But that was her first win as an owner for the Lions.
And that's Adam just being an idiot.
And it
like,
was,
let's be honest.
Yeah. And it was in spectacular fashion. It was a walk-off. Everybody loves that. But you see that. You see Dan Campbell crying at the post game. You see him almost brought to tears during his Hard Knocks speech. You see Brad Holmes sitting there in the war room with those guys when they're going over practice. Like, it's different. These guys want it. You see how passionate. Whenever they draft somebody, Brad Holmes is going crazy in the war room.
You never saw that in a war room before. I mean, you saw Fat Patricia just sitting there shoving his face full of donuts like, yeah, we got Okuda because we got to win. And I was like, no, you guys suck, man. Yeah, we have a culture here. We have something that other people are peering over the fence and wishing they were a part of. And that's nationally. That's not just here locally. That's not Kool-Aid drinking.
Nope.
That is, Dan Orlovsky talking about it. That is Amina Kimes talking about it. I know these aren't like,
RG3.
I shouldn't go off of what other people are saying, but never in my life has it been like, hey, the Lions may be a team to watch this year. It's always been, you're the Lions. We shouldn't even watch you on Thanksgiving.
And there hasn't been as many people rooting for the Lions, too, like wanting us to succeed, like past regimes, no matter what. And you talk about that trickle-down effect that D-Mac hit on absolutely this entire week. You can go back and watch the shows. D-Mac said it's about the passion.
Yeah.
And he said Dan Campbell's passion, that trickles down. Like you saw it, you watch Hard Knocks, you watch episode 1. You see it, the guy's breaking down in a huddle post-practice, talking about how they need to be better and talking about why they're in pads so early. He's like, trust me, this is you have to look at the big picture. And that passion you see with Dan trickles down to Deuce, trickles down to Aaron Glenn, trickles down to the players. The players, they see Deuce and Aaron Glenn going at it, trying to take each other's heads off. Guess what? The players want to take each other's heads off. So that attitude, and you talk about Matt Patricia, guys hated going to practice. They hated going to training camp. There was no culture at all. So the fact that Dan is here now trying to establish a culture, and I see a comment that I really do want to read by Ryan. A 3-13-1 Campbell season looked more impressive than any Patricia season.
Yeah.
Is he off?
And he had less to work with, too.
Yeah, he didn't have Slay and all these guys available that he traded away, by the way.
Well, I was going to say, and we don't have players leaving the organization bashing us, and talking about how it's just toxic, and, you don't have the Glover Quinns, you don't have the Darius Slays, like, trolling us on Twitter after they leave, like, so happy to be out of there. Now it's like, Man, I want to join that party. I want to watch Aiden Hutchinson sing. Like, I want to be in that room when that stuff's happening. And can you imagine what those parties are going to be like if they start winning? That locker room, when they start getting W's, my God.
I can only imagine.
Speaking to, like, the old culture and what, I heard Tracy Walker in an interview saying that his rookie, like, hazing thing was a skit, and they did it on the coaches. The first, like, making fun of the coaches, and they were so butthurt about it, they made him do it again. And then he had to do it again after that 3 times because it wasn't what they wanted. And it's like, it's just, that was such a loser mentality. It's such a loser room of people like Jim Bob Cooter and Matt Patricia and rocket scientists and pencils. I hate you, Matt Patricia.
Genius. I'm a genius.
You. Yeah, I'm the smartest guy ever.
Daryl Bevel.
Yeah.
Daryl Bevel.
Daryl Bevel was all right. I like Daryl Bevel.
I like Cooter better than Bevel.
Yeah.
And but the fact that when Bevel stepped in, the entire team was there. They looked alive. All it took was Daryl Bevel being head coach to see things turn around. So I'm excited to have Dan Campbell here. And I get the one criticism, and listen, I'm still looking to find an answer to this question, is what is Dan Campbell's strength? Like, every coach has some sort of strength, offense, defense. And I think Dan, as much as he's a great motivator, and I think eventually it'll be offense, I think he's trending that way, but we just don't know. It's not like he's never been a coordinator. And especially with Matt Patricia, defensive guru.
Genius.
Doesn't always work out.
Genius.
It doesn't always work out. So I'm not too concerned about it. I'm excited this season for Dan Campbell, and I see people talking about it as well. See, we're bringing back memories. All Detroit Lions fans, they hear Matt Patricia, everybody's pissed, including me. And I see it. I remember being young. Chuck says, I remember being young and excited for the rush in the early 80s, but that was so short-lived and nothing since then.
Yeah.
Like, there's people, and Chuck's a pretty fair guy. Like, Chuck's been a Lions fan for quite some time, and he'll even acknowledge, like, listen, I see changes, and that's what I can look at. Guys that have been around, have been Lions fans, like your father, Spence, my dad as well. My dad isn't even really clued in on the ins and outs of sports. He just sees all of the franchises that aren't very good right now. He doesn't understand rebuild, and he just says, oh, they all suck. But you know what he says about the Lions? I'm excited this year for the Lions.
Well, and that's when you really know something's happening, right? Not when diehards are paying attention, but when fringe people are like, oh, I feel something different. Like, what's going on with the Lions? My parents, or my mom lives in Arizona, and even out there, they're getting some buzz on the Lions. So it's really interesting because you guys, 2004 when the Pistons were on their run and the Palace was packed full of people. The Palace wasn't packed full of basketball fans. It was girls dressed like they were going to the effing club. It was guys like trying to go pick up girls. Like, it was a social event. And that's when you know teams are being very successful, when it's drawing fringe people, not diehards like us.
Yeah, and that's like I talked about my dad. Like, he's the biggest sports fan I know. Again, 70 years of watching these teams. I hear, he'll be in the garage. I hear him scream after every play. Every time, anytime something goes wrong or goes right, you hear him in the garage. He was a mailman in Rochester for 35 years. He used to get tickets from a doctor on his route 2 rows behind the Pistons bench during the early 2000s. He would take me. We'd go see these games, and he'd be like, this is winning. This is what winning looks like. And so hopefully that this Lions team can emulate that kind of championship DNA we've seen with the Red Wings when they were great, with the Pistons when they were great, with the Tigers when they almost did something. But it's back when, we were actually good, and now it's but the Lions have a lot of teams in this town that they can take pieces of, and they can see this kind of championship DNA and mold off of that.
Yeah, who would have thought the Tigers would be the one we're laughing at right now, and the Lions are on this pedestal. I kind of like what the Lions are doing. It's crazy how things get turned around. But I do want to say, before we go to break, next segment, we are going to get into a couple things, offensive and defensive MVPs. You're going to want to stick around for that. But before that, we got to hear about our friends from Planet Fitness.
So yes, Planet Fitness is now having a summer special where teenagers between the age of 14 and 19 can work out for free. It's called the Summertime Pass. It goes all the way until August 31st. But for everyone else, Planet Fitness is a judgment-free zone where you can work in a non-intimidating atmosphere with memberships starting at only $10 a month, or you can get the Black Card for $24.99 per month. Join today in Clover online at planetfitness.com. Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG. Hey, we got to give a big shout out to our people at Alta, the equipment company. Alta. If you got a big project in your backyard or a small project or just any project, commercial, residential, Alta has the equipment for you to get it done in a professional manner and very fast. You know why? Because uptime matters. And if you're not worried about your uptime, you got a lot of downtime, and that's not good. You don't want downtime. You want uptime, and that's where Alta comes in. Give them a call today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA.
Oh, porn bot in the chat.
Talk about it. We're back like we never left. Big D Energy, Jeff Iafrate, and Sam Steak Day filling in for Neil Rule and Darren McCarty. But we're going to continue the Lions conversation because why not? It's the day of preseason, the debut of the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell's second year. We got the Lions helmet. We got the energy around the room. Stick it. What?
My game face.
That's your Dan Campbell.
I live for this stuff, man. All year long I wait for this, and like the foreplay that we've had for this season has been phenomenal, right? Like the Hard Knocks, just the lead up, the fun draft. Everybody's feeling good, and I just hope the sex pays off.
Yeah,
foreplay's been great.
Always. You got to wait and see the final product. Yeah. With Dan Campbell.
I just hope we finish.
Yeah. Okay.
We always finish.
All right. Pause. All right. There's too much coming on right now. No, absolutely. You got to finish. Like last year, they started off slow, but they ended up finishing. What, 3-3, the end of the season?
Yeah.
3-2, whatever it was. But we are going to get into it. Guys, I do want to ask offensive and defensive MVPs this season for the Detroit Lions. Start putting them in the chat. Who's your offensive MVP? Who's your defensive MVP? And I'll start with you, Stick. Who's yours?
Let's start on offense. It's got to be Jared Goff. It has to be. This team is going to go as Jared Goff goes. And yes, we'll have a better running game than we've ever had in the past, supposedly because of our offensive line and DeAndre Swift and Swaggy and Jamar Jefferson. So I think the running backs, because there's so many of them and a stable of them, they won't get the shine. But Jared Goff has to be our MVP. He has to have a great completion percentage. He has to be able to manage these games and keep us in it. Because as we know and as we've seen already with Hard Knocks, our defense is going to have a rough go at it, right? Yep. They're not going to be a top 10 defense in the league. I think we all need to accept that. Now, if they grow to that by the end of the season, cool. But coming out, you saw, they're already having some problems tackling in practice. So I want to be realistic about it. So on the offensive side, I got to go with Jared Goff because he needs to be for us to be successful.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jared Goff as well.
Yeah.
Listen, Jared Goff Jared Goff is the man that's touching the football, number one. Number two, you got to look at it like this. Jared Goff last year didn't have a lot of weapons. This year, a lot more talent around him. The offense is definitely the strong suit of the Detroit Lions, and a lot of pressure's riding on Jared, not to mention you're paying him $30 million. But that's all I got for Jared Goff. Not a lot. It's a simple answer. Sam Flannel, I want to get to you. Who's your offensive MVP this season for the Lions?
My offensive MVP is DeAndre Swift. I think he will lead the NFC in rushing, and I think he will be a huge factor catching balls out of the backfield. And also, if DeAndre Swift goes off, if he can consistently get like 4 or 5 yard runs, some big plays, it'll open up the play action for Jared Goff. I believe that DeAndre Swift will have the greatest Lions running back season since Barry Sanders.
Ooh.
It's not that big of a hot take.
What's going to be Kevin Jones? Reggie
James Stewart.
James Stewart, before he got injured in preseason.
What about Mikel LaShore?
Oh,
Javid Best.
Yeah, don't forget about Javid Best. I just love going, ooh, after Sam does a prediction.
R-Tooth Pinner. You think he's going to beat R-Tooth Pinner? Come on.
Oh, my goodness. I love it, though, Sam. What about you, Spence? Offense, who's the MVP?
It's tough. It's tough. You know, you got to say it has to be Jared Goff if you want this team to have success. But I'm going to go Penei Sewell. I do think, you know, it's hard to say your MVP is a lineman because they don't have the stats, but I think he's going to be a Pro Bowler this year. I think he is going to be one of the best at his position and like top 3 at his position. And if you're top 3 at your position in the NFL, you're damn good, and you're an MVP on the team. I think his job is going to be really important, obviously, to keep Jared Goff upright. I think he's going to stay healthy. He's going to mold into what we expect him to be this year.
And I do see a lot of people agreeing, saying Goff. I see other answers as well. Penei's a good one. There's going to be a lot of X factors this year for the Lions offense. But to switch it to defense, because my answers are basic, but they're very important, and I'll explain why. My defensive MVP is going to be Aiden Hutchinson because of a couple of reasons. Number one, we all know if your pass rush is getting to the quarterback, that secondary looks a lot better. And that's the weakness of this Detroit Lions team is the secondary linebacking core. And I feel like if Aiden Hutchinson is in your face every other play, it's not just about sacks, quarterback pressures as well. If he can affect the game, that's going to bode well for the entire defense. So I'm going with Aiden Hutchinson, number 2 overall. Got big expectations for him. But for you, Stick, who's your defensive MVP?
It's a tough one because we don't really have any standouts on defense at this point, right? Like, we don't have that guy. We're all hoping Aiden Hutchinson is that guy, but where else do you go? Let's look around the rest of the team. Where else are you going to go on the defense to be like, Alex Anzalone, that's going to be our MVP? Mm-hmm. I don't want that to be our MVP. Like, I want Anzalone to have a good year, but if he's our MVP, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
So I got to go with you, or even Spence. Aleem McNeil could be. Mm-hmm. But we talked about Aiden Hutchinson and how many sacks he's going to have this year. And I had him at 9. You had him about 9.5. Same. I think he's going to have more than that to be the MVP. So if we're saying he's going to be the MVP, he's got to be a double-digit sack guy.
It's the Sam Flannel prediction.
But I also love your point, too, that it's not just about the sacks. Like, if this guy's constantly pressuring the quarterback and in his face and disrupting plays, and we're seeing it, happening day in and day out every game, then you give him the MVP. But yeah, I can't think of any standout player besides him that we need to show up because he's the only one I have that expectation for.
What about you, Sam?
I mean, it has to be Aiden Hutchinson, to the surprise of absolutely no one. Like I said, I think he's going to have double-digit sacks. I'd say 12. But it's not lost on me that quarterback pressures are just as important. I mean, if you have a pass rush on defense, there's not a quarterback in the history of football that can be effective if they're constantly being pressured. And like I think Stick or Jeff said, the cornerbacks are not going to have to cover as long if you have a constant pass rush in their face because there's not a cornerback alive that can guard guys like Justin Jefferson for 7-8 seconds. So if you can get to the quarterback, force him to throw the ball away or force him to kind of fit throws when he's not ready, I think that will be just as valuable. It is Aiden Hutchinson.
I'm going to go Amani Oruwariye.
Oruwariye!
I think he has a bigger year than he did last year. Last year he proved he can be a legitimate NFL cornerback, and I think he's going to go out there this year and prove it again. He is going to benefit, yes, from the pressure, from the defensive line getting to the quarterback, so I think that'll make his stats even better. He had comparable stats, better stats even than Xavier Howard did last year, and Xavier Howard is one of the best cornerbacks in football. I did a deep dive into this when Amani's Madden rating came out because I was absolutely disgusted by the disrespect. But I looked into it, and he allows less catches, less yards, less touchdowns, and more interceptions. He had better stats than one of the best cornerbacks in football. So I expect him to come out there, have another big year, and be benefited by this new Lions pass rush.
I absolutely love that you're giving a shout out to Amani for a couple reasons. Number one, that was my second option besides Aiden Hutchinson, just because Amani, you got to look at it too. In today's NFL, there's not too many really, little to none, shutdown corners. It's just not how the NFL works now. It's so offensively driven. It's not like back then where you can have Revis Island. But with Amani, you can appreciate that dude is a dude. He's one of the best corners to me in the NFL. So certainly Amani's a good one. You know what? Let's go to the people. I do want to pose a question. Between Aiden Hutchinson or Amani Oruwariye, who's your pick for more of the defensive MVP? Then we'll get to offense. But those two guys have to be it. It's either between Amani or Aiden. I think Aleem McNeil is a sleeper as well, because if you could stop the run from a game-to-game basis with Aleem McNeil, it's going to make the secondary already know what to expect from that passing game. But it is a good, interesting question. When you hear Amani Oruwariye stick, what's his value this year for the Detroit Lions?
I think all our cornerbacks have tremendous value this year, and that's really the position of need, and that's really the position I think we should focus on next, because we addressed the defensive line this year in the draft. If Josh Paschal turns out to be half of what he's supposed to be, he's going to be a good 5-6 year starter for us. Aiden Hutchinson, we hope, is a set and forget guy for the next 12 years, so we need those cover guys to show up this season. Oruwariye is another guy. Jacobs is another guy that I'm looking forward to, a great undrafted free agent from last year. Before he got injured, he looked
starting
everything to be an NFL starting cornerback. And you brought up Jeff Okudah, number 3 overall pick. We got to get something out of this guy. And, I'm one of those guys, I'm not going to give up on him, because injuries are injuries, right? It's not like the guy isn't trying. It's not. It's tough to hate a guy because he gets injured, right? If he was out there and he wasn't giving effort and he was just getting smoked, that's one thing. So Okudah is a very, very important cog to this system, because we need to find out if he can be a cover corner, because it looks like we're going to play press coverage. When you're watching Hard Knocks, they're talking about how they're going to take away those first 5 yards, be up, be in people's face, be aggressive, hit them when you can hit them. If Okudah can come out and be that guy for us, I think it solves a lot of issues. If he can't, I think we say, okay, maybe he'll be a safety.
Yeah, no, and with that point, it goes back to what I said about Amon-Ra. Like last year, nobody really knew what to expect out of Amani Oruwariye. Now they know. This guy can grab the football. He can get turnovers. So this year, if teams are aware of that, who are they going to target? Okudah, Will Harris. So it's on Okudah to step up this year and have an even bigger year. So I'm excited to see Okudah. That's another guy. But right now, in the poll, who's your defensive MVP, Amani Oruwariye or Hutch this season? 69% say Hutch, 31% say Amani Oruwariye, and that makes sense. Like Hutch, defensive line, get to the quarterback.
I know. I just hate how we only put 2 people on that poll, because those are the only 2 we're really talking about. Like,
there's a ton.
Like when we did the wide receiver poll, we were able to throw 4 viable options. We don't have 4 viable options right now, and that's concerning in this conversation. It really is. And, we're all excited for this team, but the defense is the biggest question mark we have this year.
In notable mentions, I'd probably say Aleem McNeil would be a good notable mention.
McNeil's in there. But that's it. You can't even name all the starters at this point. We don't know who they're going to be.
Yeah, no, I'd probably just go with Aleem, to be honest with you, outside of that. And that's why I'm looking at the defense, especially tonight in this preseason game, because they have a lot to prove. But one thing that you really can always count on is Gypsy vodka. And listen, let me tell you this, the Mulligan. 8% alcohol, it hits different. You have one of those things. If you're like me, a lightweight, it'll get to you. I'll tell you that much. But Gypsy Vodka, you can enjoy it anywhere on the course, in your backyard. You pull up a chair, you sit down, and you enjoy a drink or 2. Go check out Gypsy Vodka. Do me a favor. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you. The Mulligan from Gypsy Vodka.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Ciabattas, summer salads, and dip shakes. All at Big Boy. Try a chicken club, chicken cordon bleu, or sunrise ham and cheddar. All on our grilled ciabatta bread. Or keep it light with our Michigan apple, chicken Caesar, or Greek salad. And don't forget to cool off with a frosty hand-dipped cookies and cream or strawberry shake. You heard it here first. Summer just got better.
Let me tell you about our friends at Chili Peppers Tanning, because you can join the Pepper Club at Chili Peppers Tanning. You'll get all the best deals, plus they will beat all competitors by $5. Chili Peppers has the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, and the darkest tans. 26 locations and more on the way. Welcome back. Big D Energy here on the Woodward Sports Network, and we're continuing Lions talk.
Why not, man? They're playing tonight. They are literally playing tonight at Ford Field.
We would be damned if we didn't give an entire show to the Lions today because of the situation. We've been waiting almost, 7-8 months now for Lions football, and I'm thirsty. I really am. And I do want to ask the question for expectations, realistic expectations for the Detroit Lions. We'll start with a win total. Because I see Spencer put up the poll in the chat.
Who hacked the chat? Did Fish type that?
They're making fun of me.
It's MVP.
They're making fun of me because I put your with a R-E because I was trying to upload clips and make the poll at the same time.
So someone, the anonymous person who just popped a poll right in the Woodward Sports YouTube chat thread, who's your offensive MVP? Jeff Goff, Among Us Brown, or get Swifty in here? All right, you know what? We're moving on from this conversation.
We're talking that poll.
Expectations this year for the Detroit Lions. Stick, I never actually had a chance to sit down and talk with you about your win total and what you expect. Not even just win total, but what do you just expect in general this year out of the Detroit Lions? Because last year you had them at what?
I had them winning 8 games last year.
Which was, looking back...
And I got clowned by everybody.
You did. But
they
this
had a shot to win 8 games last year.
Yeah, with those amount of close games.
And if you go back and watch the shows from last year, that's what I said. If all things go right, they can win 8 games. And all things did not go right.
No, they didn't. But certainly a lot of those games could have went either way. So a lot of wishy-washy games. But before I give my answer, and we kind of already revealed it, but if you're now tuning in, Sam Flannel, what are your expectations this year for the Lions? Give me a win-loss total.
I expect them to go 8-9, and one of the reasons is because there are a lot of winnable games on their schedule. Seattle, the Bears twice, both New York teams, Washington in the beginning. And I think how they're going to get there is I think their offense is actually going to be pretty good. I really like DeAndre Swift to lead the NFC in rushing. I think that'll open up a lot of opportunities in the pass game for guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff in play action. And when Jamison Williams comes back, I think he's going to be a big-time weapon. The defense, I could see them losing some games like 37-30 because, like Stick said, their defense has a lot of question marks. But I think they're going to win 8, and it's going to mainly be because of their offense.
And I want to switch it up. I want to do floor and ceiling. So give me your ceiling, give me your floor, because you said 8 wins, and that's just your pick, right? What's a ceiling for the Lions, and what's a floor, the minimum they'll win this year if everything goes wrong?
My ceiling would probably be 9, just because maybe 9 or 10. It's hard to say because that's if like Jamison Williams comes back and is a star immediately.
Leads the team in receiving.
Yes, if DeAndre Swift leads the team in rushing, if Aiden Hutchinson actually gets his 12 sacks, if Jared Goff can have the best season of his career, or at least the best season since 2018, their floor, if they lose any less than 6, I will be very, very upset. If it's 5 or less, I'll start having some major questions about Dan Campbell, for example. So it has to be at the very least 6. They have to double their win total, or it is a failure of a season no matter what.
What do you think about that? What do you think about that, Spenny?
Yeah, I think their floor is 5 because I think there are some trap games on there. Like, yeah, they have an easy schedule, but they play a lot of teams on the road, like New York. They play Carolina on the road. Like, they could win those games, but it's also like it's hard to win on the road in the NFL. I don't think they'll be there. I have them at 7 wins on the season, but I think their floor is 5 and their ceiling is 9.
And you gave me your prediction, Stick, but in terms of floor and ceiling, what are some things you're looking for? Because floor for me, I'd have to agree with Sam, but what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm right with Sam. 6 wins has to be their maximum floor, period. If we don't double our win total of last year, this year's a failure.
Yeah.
It is. And then we start the conversation is what Dan Campbell doing the right thing, right? If they only win 4 or 5 games. So 6 has to be their floor. Ceiling, it's the NFL. We've seen teams go from worst to first all the time. It almost happens every year in some division across the NFL. So my ceiling for these guys, maybe 13, maybe 14. Who knows? But that's the ceiling. Once again, that's just everything goes right. Thank you, Sam.
Ladies and gentlemen.
But that's 9-game gap I got for him, right? There's a lot of leeway in there. But no, this is the NFL. If this team gets on a run, they get on a heater, they start feeling good about themselves, they start punching people
Jared
in the mouth.
Goff's MVP.
It's one of those things where if it clicks and you become a team, you become that, the 300 type unit where you're all moving in unison, you're blocking each, this is the team that can do it. And you see it with how much together these guys are off the field. Let's just hope it translates on the field. But yeah, I'm drinking it all, baby. If it goes well, we're going to the playoffs.
And I love Nicholas Duncan in the chat. 17 wins.
Book it. Book it.
Listen, now, hey, Spence, Sam, I know who's in the chat. All right, this man was voting every day.
For sure.
The chat had him 15-2. But in terms of floor and ceiling for me, I'm going to go floor 6 wins. I think you have to double your win total, no doubt about it. If you win 5, you get 2 wins better, considering all the injuries we had last year. Unacceptable, and context matters. We have to see what happens in those games, of course. If they win 6 games and all 6 of those, or all 17 of these games are disasters in terms of play calling and whatever, then I have an issue with it. But my ceiling would have to be... See, now Stick, I went after Sticks. So Sticks got me all hyped up.
Come on, baby, drink the Kool-Aid.
I'm sticking with 10 wins. I think
we're
ceiling,
Willy Wonka. We got the fizzy pop in us. We're floating all the way to the top of this ceiling.
We got the gypsy vodka on the desk.
Yep.
It's getting out of control. But I will say, I'm going 10 wins because I have to agree with Spence. If you go through the schedule, some of these wins, it's hard to even pick out 10 wins. I mean, think about it, 13, 14. Although I'd be drinking that Honolulu Blue Kool-Aid, I just don't see it. So for me, it's 10 wins for the ceiling, 6 wins minimum. But I do want to go to the chat because I see people chiming in, giving their opinion as well. Fletch says 6 floor, 9 ceiling. I'm seeing a lot of guys chime in here. Big Play J says floor 6, ceiling 10. See a lot of the similar answers. Patty Grimes says ceiling 10 games, floor 6 games. I think everybody mutually agrees if you don't win at least 6 games, I'm going to have an issue with it. I know Lions fans are going to have an issue with it. We're going to have to, you got to take somebody. You got to use somebody for that flesh. You got to sacrifice somebody, like Neil says. Somebody's got to take the heat.
Doughboy Steve said, clown the listeners. Thanks, guys. If you guys vote the Lions to win 15 games this year, I will 100% clown you. Come on now.
Yeah, no, he's got a point. I mean,
so does Fletch. He's got a point too with his comment.
Yeah, and you see it coming in now. Max says 6 floor,
Free
10 ceiling.
Fletch.
Yes, sir. Nicholas Duncan, 5, new coach. Yeah, if you win 5 games, and that's what's the perception of this team if you win 5 games?
That's the scary part, because we're all on the Dan Campbell bandwagon right now, and I don't even want to have this conversation because I don't want to put this energy out in the universe. But yeah, at what point do you start going the other way on Dan Campbell? And we're not even close to that scenario yet. We still have a whole season to play. Like D-Mac says, check out my clock. We're halfway through the 34 games that we need to be at. But I don't ever want to get to the point where it's like, oh, man, we want another 4-game season. All right, the rah-rah stuff's nice, but it's not working out. What do we do now? And that, because we're already 2 years into 6 years. So I don't want to get into that conversation because, to me, let's focus on the ceiling. Not the floor. We're not even going to touch the floor. The floor is lava. We're not touching it this year.
The floor is certainly lava. And I think
put
if you
my clock into your mouth.
Put it in there. And I think, too, as well, if you have a losing season this year, and losing season doesn't mean 7-10. I mean 5 wins, 4 wins. You're in Joe Judge territory. Joe Judge, I mean, that was a disaster in New York. In terms of win total, win-loss record, I'm not saying, equally they're similar. I think Dan's a much better human being. But certainly you'd expect them to take the next step. Because even a guy like Jim Schwartz, I'm not a Jim Schwartz guy at all, but you saw his first 3 years.
He's what we needed at that time.
Yeah, right. And I think his first 3 years, 2-14, 6-10, 10-6.
Just don't shake his hand too hard.
Yeah, don't shake his hand too hard. But, I'm old enough to remember when 9-7 wasn't good enough. And look at us.
Now we'll love it.
Look at us.
We love it now.
Look at us. We would kill for 9-7, and that's why I always go back to the Caldwell. And people want to say he's not the greatest coach alive. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Period. Flat out. Period. We can have the debate. I'm more than willing to have that debate with anybody at Stick Radio on social media. But for real, our floor was 9-7.
Yeah.
That was our floor when that guy was our coach. If we get back to that with Dan Campbell, I think we would all think that he has done great things for Detroit. So, yeah, 9-7 wasn't good enough. God, I would kill for 9-7 this year. 9-8. Even.
Yeah, and it's crazy how the expectation, like, it comes full circle because now we're just clamoring for 6 wins.
Yeah.
Now, to kind of defend a little bit, because I got to push back with you, Stick, because you're my guy.
Uh-oh.
I understand the decision to try and get better.
Of
but
course.
It was a disaster.
Yeah, but you don't get better without a good plan and without somebody that's proven. Here's what I like to equate it to, and you're a basketball guy. Rick Carlisle was a great coach, right? Mm-hmm. He ended up winning a championship years down the line with Dallas after he left Detroit.
Right.
Why did we get rid of Rick Carlisle? For Larry effing Brown, a Hall of Fame coach.
They hit on it. Yeah.
Why did we get rid of Jim Caldwell? For Matt effing Patricia. I don't mind getting rid of a winning coach when you're upgrading to Hall of Fame status. I mind getting rid of a winning coach when you're downgrading to all-you-can-eat buffet status. That's what pissed me off about that, and that's what still pisses me off. And the disrespect Jim Caldwell gets is ridiculous to me.
I love Jim Caldwell.
It is ridiculous, absolutely. But something that isn't ridiculous is our friends at SMA, because the sports marketing agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their podcast, This is the F Word, helps spread awareness on fentanyl and other addictions. So please go to thesportsma.com if you're struggling or know someone who is.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Detroit's downtown summer playground is back. Open all summer long, the Monroe Street Midway. Enjoy roller skating, free Wi-Fi, food trucks, art installations, and so much more. Don't forget to take advantage of the basketball court, putt-putt, and, of course, family programming all summer long. All art installations are done by Detroit artists, and it's a fun, safe event from people 1 to 100. Go to deckedoutdetroit.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's Spencer for the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. You know it, you've heard of it. It's the home of the original football bowling pin game called Foaling. Multiple different ways you can play. They have $12 open unlimited play. You can stay there open until close, have a good time. They also have private lane reservation, $120, 10 to 12 people. You get your own lane. You can bring in any type of food you want. If you get thirsty, they have a $2 mystery beer vending machine. Pop in $2, pops you out a good beer. No hassle, no fuss needed. If you know what you want or want to make a decision, there's multiple fully loaded bars for you to choose from. So come on down to Hamtramck and check them out at the Foaling Warehouse or visit them online at foalingwarehouse.com. Again, that is foalingwarehouse.com.
Thank you guys so much for sticking with us. It's Big D Energy, Jeff Iafrate, Sam Stick Day. We're getting close to the end of the show late in the second hour, but we do want to go to our last segment of the day. As always, mailbag time for the crew. Instead, we don't have D-Mac or Neil today, but we all will answer your questions, and I see them coming in already. Mike G asks, and this is a kind of a tough one, I'm not going to lie to you. Mike G said, bigger expectations in this town, Hockenson or Jaden Ivey?
Ooh, Hockenson. Hockenson, just because of the mountain that he has to climb. You know, we've seen the Pistons climb that mountain. We've seen what great Piston players look like. He has an example. We haven't seen a great defensive end for the Detroit Lions since Robert Porcher.
Yeah,
we have.
You're spot on. And I would agree. I think it's Aiden Hutchinson because, number one, he was taken number 2 overall, and he's looked at as the franchise player. Mm-hmm. Jaden Ivey was almost a benefit or an addition to Cade Cunningham. But what about you, Spence?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. It's at his best, you think Jaden Ivey is going to be the Robin to Cade's Batman. He's going to be the number 2 guy on a great team. But you expect Hutchinson to be your Hall of Fame defensive end, your Bosa, your whoever, insert great player here.
Yeah.
Aiden Hutchinson will be your stalwart for 10 years.
What about you, Sam?
Aiden Hutchinson for literally the exact verbatim thing that Spencer just said.
I love it. Team chemistry. I love it. Moving on, we got Casey ask Stick and Jeff. Better question. Goff and Campbell media statements goal is NFC North champs or wild card spot. How short of that is an acceptable floor? Well, that's what you should always shoot for. I mean, I'm not going to hate anybody for wanting to go to the playoffs or be NFC North champs. Playoffs. But I think it's the right thing to do. You aim high, and that's why you speak to the organization. You aim high and see where you land. But Stick, you hear that question. Goff, Campbell, they want to win the NFC North. They want to get to a wild card. How short of that is the floor for this team? Not this year for a floor, but
yeah, that's tough. I just like that they're talking it. I like that that's the discussion. I like that that's what's going on, because honestly, you should step on the field wanting to win a Super Bowl every damn year. It may not be realistic expectations, but it's like me trying to tackle Joik. At least I'm going to try and think I can, right? And that's what the Lions got to be. They got it. If you're not thinking you can win, you're never going to be able to win.
Oh, and this one,
coming. So everyone is coming.
Shout out to Maz, man. I do got to get to this question because it's funny. My guy, Big Play Jay, ask Stick and Jeff, who's your NFL team B?
Oh, my NFL team B? It used to be the Raiders when I was a kid, but I love the Ravens. I'm a defensive guy. I'm a in-your-face guy. The consistency of that team and how mean they are. Then that's what Dan Campbell and they were talking about in Hard Knocks. They're a team you don't want to play. Period. Because you know you're going to be in for a physical war. And I'll throw the Steelers in there, too. I love the Steelers.
What about you, Spence? Who's your team B?
I've always liked the 49ers a lot. Just, kind of idolized that greatness of them. But, I would say 49ers or Chargers, honestly.
You got one, Sam?
Right now, it's the Kansas City Chiefs because Patrick Mahomes is probably my favorite NFL player of all time. So, got to go with Chiefs.
Hey, you took it right out of my mouth. I'm not really I don't have a team B, but with Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he's one of my favorite players to watch. So, if I want to tune on the TV and watch a game on NFL Sunday and the Lions aren't playing.
As a Lions fan, I think we all have a team B. You need a team B once the season goes awry.
No doubt about it.
It was the Patriots forever because I love Tom Brady, but yeah. 49, even I like the Ravens too because Ed Reed was one of my favorite players. Ray Lewis was one of my favorite players.
Saragusa, just how mean those guys were. They were just so mean.
Oh yeah.
I've always wanted that mentality here. I never wanted us to be like a Kansas City finesse offense team. I want us to be a mean defensive team, and honestly, that's when we've done our best.
For sure.
And the away fan asks, "All right, gang, do the Red Wings grab the wild card spot this year, or does Ottawa and Buffalo make the push? Who's the NHL?" And this is a two-part question. Who's the NHL team you hate the most on top of that question? So will the Red Wings make the playoffs? And we all know the answer.
There's two teams I hate the most. One, Colorado Avalanche.
Absolutely.
I think that's just in our DNA to hate those bastards.
Yep.
And then two, I hate Chicago just because I hate all things Chicago. You're a weak-ass city.
Yeah. I hate Boston. No, screw Boston. That's one of mine. What about you, Spence?
Pittsburgh. I hate Pittsburgh. Sidney Crosby's a little punk.
Dude, yeah. No doubt about it.
He's a great player. One of the best players of all time. Like, arguably top 3 hockey player of all time. But yeah, he's a bitch.
What about you, Sam?
Oh, it's Boston. And is it bad for me to say that I actually don't hate Pittsburgh and Sidney Crosby because he is just so great? I love watching him play. Is that wrong?
Ovi's a better player.
Yeah, probably.
No.
Ovi, baby. Out of those two, Ovi all day.
Ovi's a better goal scorer, but Sidney Crosby's a better player.
No, Ovi all day.
That's how you dissect the two right there. But the first question, do the Red Wings grab the wild card spot? And Spence, we've talked about this. They might come just short of it, although I have confidence in what they're building this year and they can contend for it. I don't see it, and I know you maybe not as well either.
Yeah, no, it's going to be close with Bergeron re-signing in Boston. That means Pasta's coming back, so they're still going to be a formidable team. That was one of the teams you were hoping could fall off, so the Red Wings could slide in there. It's going to be tough. They're going to be battling for it for sure at the end of the season, but I don't know if this year they get over that hump just yet.
What about you, Sam? You think they can make it?
I think they will fall just short, but with the moves they made in the offseason, they will be a lot closer than we thought they would be at this point. And by next year, 2 years from now, they will be in the playoffs comfortably.
What about you, Stick? What's your heart telling you this year, Red Wings? I'm excited for them. Can they make the wild card spot, though?
I hope so. I mean, because in the NHL, we've seen, to me, they need a goalie. If we get this goalie situation figured out, then I'll be a little bit more confident, because we've seen it as Red Wings fan. You get in the playoffs as an 8 seed and a hot goalie, you can beat the number 1 seed. So I hope they get in. Are they there yet? I would defer to D-Mac, and he would defer to Iserman. So, yeah.
This is a fun one. Mike G says, Juicy, could you beat Stick in a go route? If you're pressed, are you pressing me?
Ooh.
Are we racing? Like, are you guard? I'm confused by the question. Are we just racing? Both doing a go route?
It's a go route.
Oh, if you're guarding me,
you're running the go route.
Oh, it's barbecue chicken.
Jeff.
Barbecue chicken.
Jeff.
I'm fast, baby.
I thought we were having a good show of common sense, but then it just goes out the effing window here at the end. Oh, Jeff.
You'd probably bump me off the line, though, as soon as
I am hitting you hard off the line, and then I'm staying with you, and then when the ball's in the air, you think you're going to out-jump me in my wingspan? We did the high jump in the back.
It's true. Stick's pulling a hammy trying to run a go route.
I'm an old man.
And it's not fair. It has to be post-injury Stick, because he can't.
Oh, no, defense. I can play with a club.
Stick, you want the Stick? Okay, we want the
Stick
smoke.
might clamp you up, man. He's tall as shit.
I'm sneaky athletic, too. Like, I'm faster than you think.
Sorry, Sam.
But it's a go route. Who's faster? I think Stick's he's got speed, though. You play softball every week.
I'm faster than I look.
And you got the long strides, too.
Super, like, I run like Kelvin. You know, it doesn't look like he's running fast, but he's covering so much ground with the long strides.
He's a gazelle.
Yeah, I'm not running a 4.3, but I, like, similar style.
That's fair.
So you're not saying you're Pimpleton. Pimpleton can run like a 4.4.
No, I'm not any NFL caliber player. I'm not even a lineman. Like those guys move at like what 4.8, 4.9.
Yeah, TJ Lang said he could still run like a 5.4.
Yeah, it's nuts how athletic those linemen are.
Some guys are built different, just like Big D Energy. We're built different on this network. And it's Stick Island. No, get out of here with that Stick Island.
Use my club.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Big D Energy today. It's Friday. We got to get out of here. But thank you. Before you guys leave, drop a like, comment, show some support. If you haven't already, subscribe. But until Monday, which we will be holding it down again on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. So tune in, please. We'll be recapping Lions preseason. But until then, well, see you later.